Cancel the show.
Might have to go do that.
We're done.
I mean, just don't get looking like this without any makeup. You know what I mean, Mark? You know, I mean, this is the thing. It's like, you know, come on. Oh, man. Yeah, so the market's starting to go to the downside. Welcome, everybody,
Welcome
to
back.
the afternoon show. Yeah, sorry you have to leave Joe and Sharif and come over to us, but we'll try our very best to keep the highest quality up for everybody. I'm only in...
Oh,
you can't see I'm in anything. I'm only in Intel right now. Actually, I'm in Intel and DraftKings. I do have a relative. I'm just going to try to take a fill here. What am I doing on Intel? Okay, so we can just punch out a little bit. Okay, there it is. Now let me show you. There it is. Yeah, so we're short on Intel right here. We tried to fight Intel. If you come over to the chart, we tried to fight it. Intel now, you know, you can, it's like, what is it? You can put something on a pig and dress it up, whatever.
You can put a wig on a pig. Is that what it is?
Is it a wig on a pig?
Is it a wig? Lipstick on a pig. Lipstick.
I knew it wasn't wig. That's because I knew there was no rhyme. Yeah, you could put a lipstick on pig, but it's still a pig. And there goes Intel right now, right back down to the downside. So I guess old Patty G there, you know, doesn't have much to say right now as he just collects, you know, all his cash, sits on the sidelines and watch this thing melt down. I hope he got out of some of his options. But there it goes, nice move to the downside. So once we finally started to break lower, I was trying to support in and around here, which is the 200 period moving average. We talked about that. Actually, I like this trade because why? It lined up. Like, I thought this trade was lining up pretty nicely here for this. And it was this high right there, 24.28. It also was really trying to help out by sort of protecting that level right there throughout the day, and then eventually like right into there, and then we lost it. So I'm going to have to get some orders out, which is what I'm trying to do right now, and just to try to protect what we're doing here and go short there on Intel. So that's the one trade that I have on Intel. Might be the reason I'm going over. It's a little different than what we were thinking about earlier when we just had the Intel long. So, you know, a little bit of a mind change here and going short on INTC.
Yeah, well, when it gives it up that much, I mean, sometimes you got to be able to flip it. I should say it the right way. Put the thing down, flip it, and reverse
it. Yeah,
that's what you got to do sometimes. I don't know.
This thing.
I don't know what that next lyric is. By the way, I haven't finished my.
Is yep.
Yeah, no, but it's
You don't know that?
It's something backwards, and I feel like I've heard it multiple times. I've been told what it is. It's something in reverse.
Yeah.
I just don't remember what it actually is backwards. But I'm going to get to IBIT because that's the only thing. Look, Apple off 239 and VWAP I'm in. I think that'll make some, that'll make some normal sense. But like, why am I in IBIT? It did one of those hammer low of the day candles, which on Bitcoin specifically I like. So it does a low of the day break. Key biggest volume candle since the open, and then look for the mean reversion to the upside. I thought I'd get all the way to VWAP. It's breaking trend here. So I have my trail underneath 54.35. And if it can hold on to that, I'll hold it back into VWAP. But yeah, there was a pretty sizable curl on anything crypto related when Bitcoin retested 95. It then got back above 95. So that's the look there. And if you're looking at sort of like any of the other adjacent crypto names, like there's MSTR has been trend down back into some of those lows. I know a lot of people were talking about Mara. Why are they bleeding so much today? This is my fail of the day is on Mara because Mara now down 11.5%. So it's obviously more than 10% down. At some point, I probably take a shot at this on an SSR bounce. At some point, but right now it's an absolute falling knife. And if Apple's going to bounce off VWAP, I just got some here in front of 239.40 on Apple. I'm going to get rid of some of these wicks here on Apple. There's some weird candle wicks that I have going on from the afternoon on Friday when the market was doing absolutely nothing. But yeah, it doesn't matter. You can see, if I zoom in, you can see a little bit better. Apple just bouncing off 239, trying to get back up to 239.5. It's been having a great day, but I'm sure we'll talk about a few names. Oh. Okay, we're not ready to go just yet. We'll just, we'll wait. We're not ready just yet. There was something else that I was going to go to. Yeah, DJT, which I know you guys were just watching, pulling back off that 33. So Sharif had mentioned there was a big seller at 33. Bit of a bounce here at 32.50. I don't want to say a double bottom, just on a 3-minute. You're seeing it hold 32.5. If you zoom it out, 32.5 is around this prior high from Friday, 32.40. So I think that'd be a nice place to get a bit of base of action here for DJT. Now we are ready to see what movers you guys want to talk about up with Sharif.
Welcome to the Afternoon Rundown, everyone, the show where you decide what we talk about every afternoon. The boys are ready to go. Ready to look at the tickers as decided by you. So join us during that midday How to Trade show and get into that chat and vote for your favorite tickers every day. Let's have a look here at the triple Qs. All the moving averages right now in kind of mixed territory. You've got the Dow down 0.28, the Russ and the ES marginally flat at the moment, but the NQ having itself a good day, 1%, a little bit off the highs though, as the Mag 7 mostly in green territory to start the day. Let's have a look at the first ticker though, as decided by you guys, Super Microcomputer, and this was certainly a super move, almost 28% right now, 27 and change, after they announced that they completed a review by the independent special committee and stated that their conclusions were not supported by the findings. Ernst & Young's conclusions were not supported by the findings, so that had the market very bullish, up at about almost $42, guys.
Yeah, boy, oh boy.
Yeah, oh boy. So it's up 28% now.
That was a big one.
But SMCI it actually tagged $44. And when you put that move into context, this is not going to be split adjusted, so I'll zoom in so you can see it this way. There you go. So if you remember when all you know what broke loose on at the end of October, it broke through a support at 44 and it fell to like 32, eventually getting down into the teens. Well, it filled in almost the entirety, the entirety of the gap to support into 44, not really taking out the rest. This is not necessarily a 100%, hey, these guys are going to be okay. Like you still have to understand that this is a name that went parabolically up and did a move that was basically Carvana squeeze level on the year. So to think it was ever going to fill the entirety of the gap didn't necessarily make any sense. To go all the way back, break out 50s all in one shot. There's a lot of profit takers along the line here, especially those that just recently doubled up. It hasn't pulled back to VWAP. Had an early long off the open, which was no good. That was the one we had the most on. Then we grabbed another long into VWAP. I took a break of 40. That's a 41. And I did have a short mean revert trade at 43, which I got out of completely when it trailed out here at 42.40. But I'm looking for VWAP to hold here. This is a pretty strong stock, which has managed to hold even that reversion pretty well. For it to trend up from 36 to almost $44, and then when it did do a pullback, kind of only go back like $1.50, it still looks like it's strong here out in the afternoon. So whether it's a 40 at VWAP or maybe just hanging on to this 41, if it can do some higher lows, turn this one back around, I do want to favor the long now in SMCI after that little mean revert at the 44 level there.
All right, so yeah, I mean, look, a lot of levels being discussed there. Obviously, as we continue to look at this, we got to make the decision on what we're trying to do with this name. So for me, I think it's relatively simple. You've just faded that. This is your E-signal charts again. I love them. I think they're the best ones in the game. There it goes, $44. So that's that whole gap. Boom. That's all filled up. So I don't believe in the theory that like all gaps get filled, but this one did. And if the next one's going to get filled, then I think we're going to be looking, honestly, guys, at like 60. Like, I think $60 is in play for SMCI. I think it's in play this week, to be honest with you. Let's just get some more. Like, tomorrow you could get upgrades. Tomorrow you could get some good talk. Like, if you start finding out that people are piling back into the name, hedge funds, or I don't know. I don't know. But that could spark that. And that next little gap is right into here. I mean, there's not really a gap into here in the $50. I mean, psychologically, we want to see 50. I think we can get that tomorrow. I think it gaps overnight. Again, on upgrades, on better talk now. Maybe the coast is clear. Maybe they're not getting delisted. Maybe they're going to stay in the S&P 500. So there's going to be something here for SMCI. All the sort of blood in the streets. Congratulations. We zoomed this back out many times, man, and talked about some of these levels down into there. If you were brave enough to hold this $23, $24 level, man, oh man, did you get rewarded. That 52-week low is 17.25 there. So now you're up to $42, and that was just made on November the 14th. So you're talking about 10 trading days or so, and you've almost tripled. So, I mean, great move there for SMCI. Congratulations to all. And to all, good night who's short, because right now, Santa's ringing that register for everybody long. So there it goes, man. $40. I like the stock. I think you can buy the dips into VWAP. So there you go. SMCI looks to be A great call by all of you. And then Amazon, the next one, we talked about that with retail. Let's go find the story out with Sharif.
Disappointing.
Yeah, it's appropriate that we have them today, Sean, with Black Friday having been on last Friday. Today, Cyber Monday, supposedly the biggest shopping day of the year, expected to break all records. $13.8 billion is expected to be spent today with online retailers. And if you spent money at Amazon and Walmart, well, you did well because they dominated online sales for Black Friday, soaring 14.6% year over year for both, or combined there for the two retailers separately. There was this headline today for Amazon Web Services. They are entering or expanding their multi-year partnership with Marvell, a leading chip maker, guys. So a couple of good headlines today. Amazon up 1.12.
I'm going to preface the compliment I'm going to give Amazon customer service here, and that it's not a knock on Best Buy or FedEx, although it half is. The one purchase that I made for my Christmas shopping and Black Friday and all that stuff that was not, well, it was a series of purchases that were not Amazon, is the only thing I'm having issues with. And shout out to the awesome customer service at Best Buy and not to FedEx over why something, I have a TV table, which is it's in Missouri right now, which doesn't even literally make any sense, except for the fact that every now and then a shipper messes up CA, which is Canada, and something ends up in California. It's not the first time it's happening. But Amazon seems to never have those problems. And when they do, they resolve it really quickly, and they're amazing for that. I'm a little surprised that it gave so much of the move back here today on Amazon. I did think you'd get a better continuation of this little local breakout that it had, and maybe we'd see a test of the 52-week high. So this is your
guys. Intel is tanking.
Yeah, the market is coming back.
Yeah, no, but I think it's Intel specifically. I mean, I didn't mean to interrupt. Amazon's going up. Intel right here. Just check out the chart right now. We'll go back to talk about Amazon in a second. No, yeah, right there. But there goes Intel. Like, we are now 70 cents in the money, and screaming here to the downside goes INTC. So like I said, man, wig on a pig, but there it goes, Intel to the downside. There, that wig on a pig thing is pretty funny. But anyways, yeah.
Well, you could put a wig on a pig. It's obviously lipstick.
Yeah. I saw someone in the chat said that.
No, I'm the one. No. I got it wrong. I got it wrong. But
oh, man.
I mean, it doesn't matter what you put on it. The whole point is you could dress it up.
Yeah,
but it doesn't.
The point. Yeah,
but it doesn't matter at the end of the day. And there's nothing wrong with pigs, man. I mean,
what do you mean nothing wrong with pigs? You love bacon.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah. So
like, what are we even talking about here? Like,
murderer. Okay, so yeah, no. As we go, yeah.
That's ugly. To be down, to be down 2 points after everyone wanting this to happen. But I think the problem is you don't know what leadership is going to be. Like, you don't know what's next. And I said this morning. It's not the same thing as bringing in a superstar like Nickel, and then all of a sudden your stock goes 10%. I think had they brought in somebody that people had confidence in or that moved the needle, I don't know who that's going to be, but an intern from inside isn't necessarily a change. So I think ultimately this might still get another leg when they make a full-time decision here. But that bleed is now nasty. I had a mean revert because it was bleeding so hard, and I'm going to throw another one in here because I'm just want to look for one at this point. Like, I was tracking this move down, looking for it to close above trend. Now I'm just going to slap a more parabolic trend, and then the second it does any kind of mean revert, maybe look for some kind of return. There is no story here. It's about to lose a 50 period on the daily. Yikes, which is not a good sign. If it loses 23, it gets even nastier. But no, with Amazon, all I was saying is it's just a disappointment to me that it didn't hold VWAP, that it didn't hold this breakout. I do like the fact the market's pulling back as we speak, and if the NASDAQ holds VWAP, at least you're hanging on to this 210 area for Amazon. So I like it in a general sense. I think maybe you give it a day or two after Cyber Monday, and then maybe we can resume the move back up to that 52-week high. A little surprised we didn't test it today, that's all.
Money.
So the big thing, and we always get credit, thank you to Brian Shannon, Michael Noss, everybody that comes on the show and gives credit to me when I do this. And it's not about getting the credit, it's about seeing the trade. And I just think that you have to, like we had written down on here, Intel long, right? We talked about all of that. And I know Neil just mentioned it about what we're doing, but it's about being able to flip over into that short, right? And so having just once it breaks and you could see that sort of volume. I mean, I wasn't really looking at volume. Obviously now it's picking up as we get lower and lower and lower, but it's like the minute that these levels are broken, it's like, you know, live to see another day. You know, I've averaged into these trades before and blah, 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 blah. And then all of a sudden, you know, next thing you know is you're down, whatever, that you're 25% or you're 30% on the day or whatever your net loss is going to be against what you're expecting. But it's have the ability, be a trader first and foremost. Sit in trades, make these trades. And that's what it was right there. So, I mean, I had no idea if Intel was going down or not, but it broke those levels and that was right into here. We talked about this, 24.20, 24.30. So we were trying to defend that. We were giving it a little bit more space. But then eventually when it broke 20 right here, or maybe it was 20.25, that's where we started to go short. I mean, maybe I can even zoom in. See, so these are all longs. We tried to go long there. And then the purple, then anyways, the red is where we sold it. The purple is where we started to go short again. So there it goes right there. Just, hey, look, man, we would be nothing if we weren't teaching you guys everything. And this is another example of in the wild, how to make money. So back over to you, big dog.
MSTR, according to Benzinga, there's some unusual options activity over here with 38% of the trades being bullish, 34% being bearish. They did detect what they said were 199 unusual call contracts on MSTR with 143 unusual puts to the downside separately. Fundstrat's Tom Lee given his take on where Bitcoin might be, didn't give a specific level, but just used the phrase well above 100,000 guys. MicroStrategies, though, down 2% on the day.
Yeah, and just like Mara, you're seeing a little bit of a sea change in this strategy of, hey, we're going to leverage and buy Bitcoin. And obviously, you know, MicroStrategy did have the short seller report and, you know, the disconnect from what's going on with Bitcoin and the price action in Bitcoin. And since then, it has been a very, very weak stock. Like you had some strength going back into last week. Actually, it was on Wednesday that it had a little bit of strength, catching a bit of a bid and then back on the 22nd. But for the most part, since that top of 500, like that failure, it's been a short to pop situation. As we look at it here, though, 370 is holding the line pretty decently on MSTR. I don't want to call it a flat bottom break because it's been underneath, but that initial day you bounced at 370. You tried to hold 370 on the 26th. You did hold it on the 27th. It's bounced already here, just slightly in front of that once again. So it feels like this is the line in the sand here for MSTR. Like if we lose that bid, we could have a retest of the 350 level for them. So another day where, I mean, it's not, look, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that IBIT and Bitcoin had a monster day, but you know, if you look at the move, like IBIT caught a pretty decent bid, although it might actually break trend, and then we're going to get out underneath this 20 level. It might break trend and come back into the downside. Well, MSTR already did a pretty outsized move and is already hanging at those lows. So once again, it's just relatively weak compared to BTC.
Is this a link?
Once we see that change, I think there's going to be a pretty solid relief rally in the stock. It just hasn't given those indications yet. It doesn't mean it's never going to happen, but it's another day where it's outpacing most of the movement downside that we're seeing in the crypto space as well. What is it? Oh, Bears versus Bulls just posted this. If you shipped that TV table, UPS is maybe the holdup. No, I'm with FedEx. FedEx is giving me the issues. Bears versus Bulls. And I think somebody just, it happens every now and then. I think somebody just messed up and sent it to the wrong place. It happens. I'm not hating that much.
Yeah, no, you can't hate on that.
Nah,
One second, Ramin, I
it
will,
is what it is, man.
I will get it up in 1 second because we're going to talk immediately about Trade the Pool. So why don't we do that right now? Trade the Pool allows stock traders like you, and here's the link right here. Trade the Pool allows traders like you to get evaluated and trade real shares using the company's capital with no PDT rule. Trade the Pool has just launched a limited edition program for a one-time fee of just $300. You'll receive 80 grand in buying power. I'm reading the one, hold on a second here. I got to get the right thing here because this is not the right. Yeah, it is actually. Monday at 2:18. Yeah, there it is. Trade the Pool's official stock trading competition has officially begun. So that's what I'm supposed to talk about right now. Has over 2,500 traders, are now competing to prove what they have, what it takes to rule the pool. Let's check out the leaderboard and see who's leading on day one. Yo, what up, Tony J.H. right here from the Philippines, my guy? Right here, 60,000? Yo, you need a job, Tony J.H., man? I got a place for you, my guy. Here's Anthony Herbert, of course, Justin's brother. What is Justin Herbert doing yesterday? Getting me 9 fantasy points when I need them. First place right there. If he stays in this place, he'll win an evaluation of $160,000 in buying power. All right, maybe, yeah, that's still good. Second place right there, Mahoud Renata Sahad Ahmed from Egypt.
Bang.
Potentially not Renata. Third place right there. Shout out to Renata Fast of the Toronto Scepters as well. Third place right here. Cynics the Cool. Hey, man, if you are cool, then get it. Listen to this one. If you are cool, then trade with Trade the Pool. There we go. That's an extra $500 right there. Thank you for that one. Look, 20K in buying power. It's only the beginning. Stay tuned. We'll be updating this as we go. But thank you to Trade the Pool, and thank you to this great opportunity for everybody to be involved right here.
Check out what they were trading, though. Like,
can you see what they're trading? I don't know how.
No, it's best trade
best
symbol.
Trade symbol. SNTI.
SNTI.
Okay, I see what's going on right
Exactly.
here. Okay. So, all right. Congratulations. Hopefully you keep your profits. Let me leave it at that. All right. So there it goes, man. Trade the Pool. Thank you so much for everything. We're going to have a lot of fun with that as we go. So join Trade the Pool, and we'll keep showing all the results here until it's over with, which is this week, Friday, the 6th of December. Don't let Brendan trade in that competition. He might win that whole thing. You know, you got to keep him busy.
All in those small caps.
Yeah. All right, Sharif. Apple time.
I'm going to shout out the small cap gappers trader, though, on Trade the Pool. Get it, guys. SNTI, big mover today. All right, guys, Apple. This is not from today. Wedbush reiterating their outperform rating on Apple, specifically Danny Ives, maintaining that $300 price target. We saw all-time highs on Friday. We saw more all-time highs today with Apple, again, well off the highs, though, breaking down below 240. Adara did bring us this headline midday that fiat to crypto in seconds now with Apple Pay. Coinbase launching Apple Pay for all fiat to crypto purchases via the Coinbase on-ramp. So good luck there. You're going to be able to use Apple Pay, guys, to use your Bitcoin to buy things at point of sale. Is that what you guys want to do with BTC?
Yep.
No, I want to hold it.
All right. That's the thing is like, right here, you just lost $5,000. I want to hold BTC too, but I also want to spend with it.
I think eventually, for me,
I actually don't own much BTC. I actually own almost no BTC. I own IBIT and then I own the other ETF. All of my actual coins are Cardano, Stellar Lumens, Ripple, Solana.
I made a similar change in which the vast majority of my Bitcoin is now in the ETF, but not all of it. I did hang on to a decent chunk. But yeah, I think when I forget the year that it came to Canada, BTCC. But like whenever the second that was available, I started making that move over. But yeah, it is what it is. I think eventually you might get to that point, but for now, I think most people are more than happy to hold. I mean, at the end of the day, they're not making any more of it, or there's a limited amount. They are making.
Yeah, they're making a lot.
Yeah, more. but a little bit. They're making, because at the end of the day, there's only ever going to be 21 mil, and a lot of it's already gone.
Okay, so Apple, what do you think about this? Bitcoin, do you think it'll get to 150 or 50 first?
150 or
150
50
or 50? What's
150? And most of that's because I think it would be a not good move to lose that 50. It was like 54 to like 62 area. It might be like 62, 63. I think if you lose that support area, first you've lost the breakout, which we just had off that channel, which that's already not good. And then you had the support level off the breakout if you lose 54,000, I think. So I think losing the 50 level.
It's more just like you think it's going to go 50% from here or 50% up or down?
Up at this point.
I'm going to go with down.
I think if it gets down into that 50 level, I'd be the buyer.
Yeah.
So
if it gets down to 50 level, you'll be a buyer.
The 55.
Yeah.
Well, I only ever buy the.
Is that your first buying level?
No, I only ever buy the monster levels and hold. I'm not very active when it comes to BTC.
Yeah. No.
We're talking about Apple. Okay, so just quickly on Apple, it's up a point here today. All-time highs broke out about 230. I mean, it was 237.5. That was the all-time high. I didn't catch any of the breaks this morning. I didn't catch the Tesla break. I didn't catch the Apple break. I just only bought VWAP and then took the breakout at 240, and I'm now playing it off of a 239 support that it's put in. So, Apple, another all-time high. Apple continues to do well and to win. It's a little bit of sideways action here off of VWAP, but let's remember it's the afternoon. It's Black Friday. Sorry, it's Cyber Monday. The NASDAQ's pulling back and just trying to catch its legs after a big move up. So I think you're seeing a little bit of consolidation, which is normal in the afternoon. So as long as it holds on to 39, I'm in this one. See if it can play back into the 240 level. And then keep in mind, you never really know. We've seen some pretty decent imbalances. It's the first trading day of December of the new month in here. So I'm expecting maybe you might see one or two of these big cap names on the imbalance locator. We've seen Apple move around several times off buy imbalances. Especially lately. So as long as it holds 39, we'll go keep reloading it in here. Like Amazon, it's well above that 52-week high. So if it were to lose support, it could still drop a bunch and may be above that breakout. It's going to close, again, like I said, it's going to close at an all-time high today.
Look, P&L, yeah, great trading on Apple. Look, P&L number one for the show across all platforms is going to be Palantir. Number two is going to be Apple. And it's because we wanted the longs. We had the longs all early. Long. So all four of these names, all five of these names were long. And the problem is that 238 breakout long rate there, which we had mentioned there on Apple, we crossed up and missed that trade. And then I was just like, okay, well, if we missed it, so did everybody else. We're buying this name. So I actually wind up buying 238.50s, right? I just punched long. I didn't even really consider the price, to be honest with you. Just went right immediately long into that name. Gave the best trade right there on that dip buy opportunity back in. But at the end of the day, we also take a 240 long break as well. And that works out. We just refreshed it right into there. That didn't work that great. And we wind up getting out for flat once it breaks through 239.50. Now it's not doing much. I think Apple's probably a short from here, underneath VWAP, underneath the 50 period, underneath the 200 period. It's looking short to me. I mean, the market is definitely making moves down. I think Apple's a short here today. But again, with it being up the same as the market, I think you'd rather just short the market instead. So right now, Apple, great stock, great hold, all-time highs today. Congratulations, everybody. That's long, which should be everybody. And by the way, you guys asked 2 weeks ago, what stock should you buy? And I just said Apple 2 weeks ago, or was it? I don't know when we released it, but that was one there. So just straight upside right now on Apple, taking out the high. And I said it was going to be a slow and steady grind, but if you don't want your money to go poof, I would say Apple is a great stock. So yeah, I have not sold anything on Apple in a very, very long time. So we'll wait to see what the next move is there for AAPL. But, I know they're going to be selling. The numbers that are going to come out of these guys for the next quarter is going to be... It's tout beaucoup, yeah. Grande beaucoup. It's going to be very, very huge. Apple is going to sell more iPhone 16s than anybody in the chat even has any idea about. So that's my prediction. All right, what's up, Sharif?
Patty G's out, Sean. That's what happened there with Intel. Pat Gelsinger is gone at the helm of Intel. They're going to go to a co-CEO setup. Both are executives from within the company as the company searches for their next leader, expected to be sometime early to mid 2025. Initially, we did get that bump up, though. We got this news in the pre-market, and it was well received. Since that time, though, it has been a steady state of lower lows and lower highs now, guys. We're down about 1 3/4 on Intel.
I mean, I could take this. So again, Intel, we had it listed down again on here for the long. I mean, that was not even on here until we heard the news. And all of a sudden, it came through, and I just added it to the top left corner. Because why? Well, we went long immediately once we heard that Gelsinger news. Because again, I talk about advanced money destroyer and AMD. It's actually Intel. I mean, Intel's like the ugly brother of AMD at this point. Like, honestly, Intel is down huge this year, and no real relief, in my opinion, in sight on this name. I thought today would have been a nice little rally for Intel. You know, you just look at, if you had your money parked in this name, it's been really bad. I mean, just year to date here in January, I don't know, we can go here, January 3rd, right here. $50, right? Cut in half. So all the way to the downside. You had a great opportunity to buy something down here. And I think maybe 20 is where we wind up landing. I'm just a little disappointed because I don't own any of the stock. I just thought that, hey, you know, stock going up here on that news, generally speaking, we talked about it with Brian Nickel and things like that, is like, and I've seen it with Gap, I've seen it all over the place. There's so many different CEOs that step in to companies that are down like this. We saw Peloton. I mean, Peloton gets their new CEO and rips up, I don't know what it was, 40 or 50%, something like that. Now you're into $10 for Peloton. This was a $3 name. You know, so at the end of the day, like, look at this, new CEO for Peloton. This is what winds up happening. You know, straight from $4, $3 to 10. Tripled. I don't think Intel's going to triple. Obviously, there's nothing there for Intel. But at the end of the day, very, very disappointed. I think if you're a shareholder for Intel, you have to be. This might be, I mean, look, there's going to be many disappointing days, obviously, in your career holding Intel. But this has to be one of the more disappointing ones because I really thought there was a really good chance today for us to get going on this name, especially when it pops all the way to like this 25 area. And we're like, okay, all you need to get is to this 2650 and then you're blasting and then you're maybe back into the 30 area. So, yeah, disappointing. I think I'll sit there and try to buy some around 20 if that's the case. But at the end of the day, man, yeah, Intel pretty destroyed. And I was not expecting it. So I didn't even think the short was going to go down, which is why when I mean, I thought it was going to go down, but like that little bit of a move there, pretty dramatic to the downside. So again, sorry about everybody's Intel, but at the end of the day, I think it's the right move. And now we'll see. Probably tomorrow this name is up. So I would say tomorrow it's up.
To say it's the right move, it probably depends on who they bring in. You know, at the end of the day, I think when we got that headline, I know for one, I think you get the exuberance of, okay, well, everyone wanted a leadership change. But then all those companies, the companies that you mentioned, you know, the big thing is you actually had the CEO in place. Like you knew who the replacement was going to be, not some interim from inside of the company, which doesn't necessarily make a change. You want a leadership change, you want to change your direction. With a stock, it's doing this. So I think, as Sharif said, if you're waiting until next year, like they said, early 2025, I think that's going to be a time when maybe it'll make a better move. It hasn't broken, so since 50, it hasn't broken the trend down. As a matter of fact, it's only really tested this trend down since 50. So I think as long as it holds on to this, you're probably waiting, like maybe it breaks it locally before that. My guess would be this trend break, which to me would signal like a trading opportunity to maybe swing this. I think that happens after they make an announcement, but who knows? What if it gets delayed even further? Like what if they are intern for half a year and then you come back and next quarter we're still looking at the same story where it's just the intern. It just broke trend back in, but I'm not chasing along in Intel. Like it confirmed the break of this trend here at 2370 and immediately shot up to 90s. So I'm going to look for maybe a play back into 2370 on the mean reversion trade here for Intel. Why am I getting that error? I can get rid of that. I wanted to get to DJT here for a quick little second here. DJT pulling almost all the way back into VWAP. So got up to 33. It just dipped and held 32 even. Let's see if it can hold on to this 32. 32 was the opening, well, kind of the opening bell top here on DJT, up a couple of points. One of the strong stocks out there in the market, at least recently, but a pullback of $1, holding on to 32. I want to see it make some higher lows, and then we can look a little bit better with DJT. IBIT, if we fail again up in here at 54.6 on IBIT, I mean, Bitcoin is trying to break to 96,000. If we fail up here in front of VWAP, I'm going to get out of this trade. I already had my trail underneath this support line here. So if we don't break the range, just going to get out. It was just a bottoming tail candle. That was the reason I got into IBIT. So if resistance holds in front of VWAP, then that's where I'm going to get out of this mean reversion trade. SMCI also, this is worth watching. Some higher lows finally being put in. So SMCI never gets to VWAP. That's how strong it is. Bounces off 41. Now a higher low. It's more like 41.75. Now I want to see it pull back in, give us another base with which to trade long into the high of the day. So I took my shot on a mean reversion. It did work on SMCI, but not for much. I'm going back into looking at the longs here on this 30% mover. It's just, you got to find something which is moving. The market's mostly going sideways in here today, and I feel like what's going to break, DJT has a chance, even though it pulled back, but SMCI has been on an absolute tear. I like to play some higher lows, but once it pulls back and gives any kind of dip like that, dip, hold level, get in, and then work to the long side. That's what I'm looking for next here. It'll likely be SMCI.
All right, we're going to be in a trade right now. It's going to be Google. Again, up 1.45%. I mean, let's go Google. I mean, we like this stock, that's for sure. Those of you that have been following some of the, the talk that I've had about some of these big cap tech names, I mean, Google's a big part of the portfolio. And, I'm not going long here just because I own the stock. I mean, it has nothing to do with that. Right now, Google trying to hold, and it looks like we just did hold this 171 near VWAP. So I'm going to put a starter position on right now into this area. And again, starter position for me might be a max position for others. So, you got to trade it for yourself. This right now, I'm thinking if we dip down, now that I'm looking at this, I mean, I see on the 5-minute chart, obviously VWAP's going to be the same everywhere, but it looks like it also wants to try to hold this level in and around 171. That dip down, you may have to wait for 170.70 would be the very bottom right there. I just wonder if the market's going to blast a little bit higher right now. Is this going to be a level that we're interested in for Google? So let's just see, trying to break above the 200 period. It's generally been a trend-changing opportunity. There it is right there on the 200 period. We broke it here, and I mean, we kind of went back down to the downside. So we could resist it again right now at 171.40. I mean, that could be a play. I'm going to start it small right now. And if we get all the way down to 170, wherever VWAP winds up being at that time, I mean, I'm going to average it in. Probably take some more here at 171.20. And again, like part of winning at trading and things like that is you obviously got to have the right price, which is the most important. But even more important, it's not the most important, but the right price, you got to have the right price. But you got to have the right amount of shares. Because like even if this stock rips from here, and I only have right now probably like 25% of the position that I'm going to have, even if it rips up here, like that's great, but then you only have 25%. So you got to like find levels where you're a little more confident and that you're going to try to step up and actually put some real shares on. So for me, that would be in and around 171. So we'll see if Google does drip back into that spot. I mean, I think there's a good chance for us to be able to get that there. So we'll see if it does come through. We'll start the position now in case it does move up. First out, maybe what am I long at here? 40, 39. So yeah, if we can get something at this top of 55, something like that, that would be okay. But ultimately, we want to average it in if it comes to 171.20. So just the beginning of a trade right now for me on Google. And Intel resisted that 50-period moving average. So I'm going to put another piece right here at 74s. Hopefully we'll be able to catch, there we go, we got it. Hopefully we'll be able to catch that. So we do that right now. 40 cents in the money on Intel, 5 cents in the money on Google. And I mean, those are the trades that I have on right now. I mean, I could look at Occidental is trying to move around a little, maybe some AMD. AMD's up 3%.
It's kind of a nasty move, and some of the energy names, some of the banks didn't actually have the best day today. Just a quick change. So we're going to possibly get a trail out here on IBIT. Like it goes into resistance, but if it can hold this little trend, I might as well give it into VWAP. So just going to slap a trail on it underneath 54.40. So since it based out at the 54.20, if it wants to hold here, that's all. I'm just moving the trailing stop on IBIT. I still have the eyeballs mostly on SMCI as that's starting to do its first little pullback since that break off of 22. What I'm looking for here, as I said before, there's your dip, hold level again, and then look for some kind of a long. You don't necessarily know exactly what price that's going to be, but in and around, well, above the 42, I want it making higher lows is what I'm looking for. So the second it pulls back and shows me that pattern off some higher lows, we're going to like it. As far as Apple goes in here, it's just getting back to above VWAP after holding 239. So it's been resisting, I'll zoom it out, it's been resisting most of the afternoon, 239.5, which was this morning, like 11:30 bottom. So like support early on is turning into resistance here. We'll give it one more chance to hold on to VWAP. Otherwise, you got to wait for 239, and that's going to be pretty much it. So dip buy coming in SMCI, although it has to set up. It's not there just yet. And if there's anything you guys are looking at, I mean, I haven't heard anybody talk about any small cap stocks. Usually we'll get like one or two symbols out there, but something's moving that we're not seeing. Like I'm throwing up like DJT and SMCI because I feel like those are the movers right now. But if there's something else moving, you guys let us know. Certainly, you got to be, if you want to communicate with us in the chat, remember, it's a subscribers only chat. So hit that like, hit that subscribe so you can join in the conversation. And a big shout out to Bears versus Bulls, excuse me, who makes sure that we don't miss anything or tries to make sure we don't miss anything. And as I say that, Tony is interested in bros. Tony in the chat saying, whoa, wait a minute. Oh, swing short on. Shout out to Brian Shannon. on his Bros long. So you're saying you're shorting Bros to set a downside. Bros up. Actually, Bros, it did make a fresh high today. Yeah, it looks like it barely, it did. Looks like they made a fresh high testing 55 there on Dutch Brothers. Great looking IPO breakout. And I mean, the long's fantastic on this. And this is one of those like, let the IPO settle down, and then when they take out that prior high, they just tend to fly. You know, Bros is a great example of that exact same pattern. I'm probably not looking at any kind of a trade here on Bros. The volume pretty low. Only done 1 million shares and not really doing a heck of a lot of action on it. But good luck on your short.
Yeah, we're 30 cents, 32 cents now in the money as well. So here we go. We're in the wild over here, Instagram right now. Ooh, 80 likes. Thank you. There's our building here. Oh, here's the question that we had the other day. Oh, how do you become a full-time trader? Thank you, Tyrese. We actually answered this question live on Instagram. So make sure you go check out Instagram right here. And I want to thank Trader TV Live. Obviously, here's my daughter's hockey team. And you could see bang, 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 sponsorship all over the damn place right there. So Trader TV Live giving back to the community right up in here. So thank you to everybody for that one. I'm going to actually repost that, but there it is here. Trader TV Live. I'll put that in there. Go like this thing here. This is my daughter right there as we go. But again, Trader TV Live doing the most that we can. So I want to thank everybody for sponsoring the show, and we're going to give back to sponsor the community as well. So there it is right there. And yeah, a bunch of fun stuff hitting. We have Instagram there. I'm posting all the time on Instagram. Here we are right before we got sick at not sick, but a little cough. There at the Santa Claus Parade, and here's Home Depot. Again, as we came through, here's some throwbacks. We have Throwback Thursdays all the time. I'm posting on here. Here's Randy as well. Here's a little bit of a shot. There's Obi sitting down. Discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment. Anyways, bunch of different things here. Also, sticky note available in carousel form right now on my Instagram. So go definitely check that out if you are interested in hopefully winning trade ideas. Go follow at Trader TV Sean, and we'll have some fun together over there. So, all right. Not much else going on over here right now. I just want to give that little plug and thank Trader TV Live again for giving back and sponsoring there. All right. So Intel. Oh, we did get a little bit of a fill there. We did get a fill at 75. It is starting to creep back up right now. We have under 20% left of this position. It's Google right now. That's, it's not really making that much money, but hey, man, a winning trade's a winning trade. They're hard enough to come around here for sure. There's Google right now. Nice move, winning trade. We'll take it just a little bit now. I'm not getting anything out, but right now it's up that 10 cents. It's right into that level right there. So maybe we should put an offer out on Google right now, but up to 54. We'll sit at 54 and see if we can get that. So there goes Intel right now. So far, so good as we sit here and just put on that little piece right there. So again, pay some bills there. We just take that little bit of a long, and we actually got out there of 20%. It's small, it's nothing. I'm wanting a lot more. But again, we're trying to get some more shares. I don't know if that's going to happen right there. But when's the NASCAR sponsor coming? Yeah. So very, very soon we will be sponsoring a NASCAR. As well. No.
Brennan will hate on us if that ever happened.
Brennan is
very much like F1 is real, and let's be honest. He craps on NASCAR if you even bring it up. He's like,
does he?
He does, seriously. And and the first time it happened, I was like, I thought you liked racing. He's like, that's not racing. And I was like, okay. And again, I'm not gonna claim to be a gigantic racing fan.
I don't know. I don't know enough about it.
That said, there is something to be said about if you're looking at who's the most skilled driver. If everyone's driving essentially the same vehicle, then it comes down to your skill behind the wheel. And my only beef with F1 is it doesn't matter how good of a driver you are if everyone's just in a superior machine. The skill that they have at those speeds is unbelievable. I do enjoy watching it from time to time, but it just feels like I don't like watching stuff where I know who's going to win all the time. Every now and then it's okay.
I don't know if that's still happening like that. I don't think Red Bull is dominating.
It's not as bad as it used to be, but it goes through these really long spurts of that, and that's just, again, to each their own. I like there to be a little bit of intrigue in sport. I think that's why people love football. Certainly, that's why hockey's so popular.
Yeah.
Obviously, you want anything to be able to happen. The unpredictability, I think, is what makes it cool to me. But That's, again, like I said, to each their own. I'm not saying F1 isn't more difficult. It certainly is at those speeds. I was asked by Pathek in the chat whether I thought SMCI was at a bottom, and my simple answer is on the swing, because we gave this as a trade idea 2 weeks ago. And shout out to all the great work by our team and to Andre putting our trade ideas out every single week, and the entire team is giving them. So this was a couple of weeks ago, but one of the things I had mentioned was in looking for a couple weeks that we put it out for last week, the bottom, I like the 14.5 to 15 hold. So today, it's made the pullback. It did make the breakout, so it continued. So obviously the long was good, but it's diddling in the middle. So it's not at a support level that I'm a huge fan of. I think something that plays tighter to the 15 level is kind of what I like a little bit more on SoFi. It's certainly on a good run, but when you pull up this daily chart, you see how extended it is. Like, this is a double up since holding that 750, like the 50 period and the 200 when it got that golden cross. It's giving you a double. So I think the pullbacks, you have to look. Last time it was a 1450 pullback, it pulled back to 13. Like, it was a 10% pullback. I think that's what you're looking for at a 16.5. I mean, let's see it play back into a 15. So I'm not in love with any specific levels that are remotely close today on SoFi. Like, you won't see me dip buying it today as a day trade, because I think it's gone a little parabolic, and you have to really like the level at that point if you're going to dip down into it. But I do like the trade. I do like it. Obviously, this week, my pick was AM Dizzle, which is doing okay. Oh, no. I just typoed SMCI, so I have to wait for this to reload. Yeah, I know. Sometimes I hit enter way too fast, and that's my own fault, obviously. It's now putting in some higher lows. They're all 42.5 is what I wanted to show you guys on the black chart, which I always have up.
Yeah, good job there. Yeah, I think AMD, I mean, I like all these chip names, man. I've been talking about for a while. I think we all definitely like SMH and Zscaler and things like that as we get questions about Zscaler and SMH all of the time. All right, so Google has faded back out just a little bit now. XOM, Coinbase, what's going on with XOM right now? XOM up to 118. Okay, XOM at a nice level that you could possibly short at some point right here. XOM all the way up. I mean, if you're going to look here, we've just taken this at 117.80. So here comes XOM right now into this top area. Short potential here for sure, I think, anyways, in XOM as we continue to watch out where we're going on this name. I mean, it looks like upside, flat on the day. Let's check out what USO is doing. You don't want necessarily, I mean, look, XOM is its own little beast, obviously, but you never want to go too far against what the broad market in oil is doing exactly. But USO is still down, trying to make a move back up. So I'm wondering about this XOM in and around this level here. Could be in for a decent fade. I mean, I would like. Oh, it
almost got green.
The futures to go. Yeah, I was going to say. I mean, I'd like for the futures to go up here, but if they don't, XOM might be a spot to get some money in. So we'll have a look there. It's already fading right now off that 117.80 mark. I mean, again, like when I
there was that Middle East headline, right? So
what was it? Oh, it was Hezbollah not respecting the ceasefire.
Yeah,
so I think obviously that's probably going to give it a nice bump. We had meant to look, so first of all, 42.50 has now held. It just bounced, but now you're starting to accelerate. I just got a 65 print. Like, it gave me the setup I wanted, but if it loses support immediately, I got to jump out and wait for the 41.5. Like, there's no chance, again, on stock like this. I don't like 42.50 to 41.50. I like 42.65 into 41.50 in the afternoon. When you're trading this far away from the big level, which is 40 or the 41.5, then it goes scalp mode. But we were asked about oil, and I remembered I was in the middle of saying something about, I was going to say something about Occidental, and then we got a little bit sidetracked. And what I wanted to point out with Oxy is simply that, the Buffett levels, those are all dead, right? Like that mid 55 level. But if you look at what's been going on in Oxy, it's a $50 kind of like $49.5 to $50 hold. And what I like about this is, see the 50-period moving average? Now you're just condensing down on Oxy. You're holding 50. So that whole setup of making a consolidative bottom with a trend down, breaking trend and holding the 50-period moving average, Oxy's setting up to do it. This is the exact same setup that I liked over in Snowflake that Occidental's trying to do. So I got my eyeballs on this. I've swung in Oxy a couple times, but it's only ever been off those Warren Buffett levels. This time, I think it's setting up a little bit differently. If I zoom out, you can sort of see those previous mid 50 mid 50 levels of support. Now all of a sudden resistance. But I'm going to like this for a swing. Once it closes above that 50 period, I shouldn't say once it, I mean, if it closes above that 50 period moving average, I want to look for a long swing in Occidental and then just see if we can scalp it there. It's been that kind of stock, which has been pretty good for those types of technical plays. Anyways, just thought I'd mention that about Oxy. It's red because energy is red today. I mean, mostly. I mean, I haven't looked at every single energy stock, but I'm going to assume most of them. If they just tried to go green on that last bounce that we got with that headline, but for the most part, they've been having a rough day.
Yeah, no, energy, we talked a little bit about that here as we go on some of those names. Intel's trying to battle back a little bit here. We just got into that level that we weren't sure if we liked it or not, this 2350 area, but it just bounced off 24. So I was trying to be a little bit cautious about that level. We did not average back in. There's a big bid right here. You could see on the bid there 100,000 shares right now, trying to figure out what it wants to do. So yeah, right into there could be something for sure on the bid of Intel. I'm not too worried about 109 million shares today. Not really sending me too worried about what's going on now with Intel, but still, there is something. Oh, now it's gone. Okay, so there was there at 2380. So there you go. So just to show you that, yeah, in this case, as we said before, that size is not going to matter at all as we blast through it. I mean, 240 million shares, 231 million shares today in SMCI. That's definitely something interesting for many traders that are having a look today on, different names.
That's a big time marvel.
Yeah, like that relative volume is absolutely huge.
Which makes sense.
Starbucks, what is Starbucks doing? Microsoft. So many of these levels. Wow, Starbucks now back above 100. Okay. We recently sold this. I mean, we had bought this name in the 70s, sold it at, I think it was 97, 98, when we got a fail there. And I thought that we had sort of failed here on Starbucks and fell back in. So I was right into here. Once we failed breaking 100 there, we were able to get something. I think it must have been 90. I don't know, 90. It was in here somewhere. 90. Let's call it 96. I don't care what it was at this point, but that looked like a good trade. Now you're finally starting to break northbound here on Starbucks. So yeah, man, like the stock a lot here, trying to break through. Again, new CEO, we talked about that, trying to change the game a little bit. I think they're like 1 or 2 moves away. If they ever announced, and I don't think they're going to do this because it's not Starbucks thing, but if they kind of came down a little bit there in some of their pricing, which I don't necessarily think they need to. It's just a matter of maybe that could help if they started. You already get free coffee. Like if you buy one coffee and sit in there, you can keep getting it over and over again. Yeah. So there's refills there. But I think just maybe a cheaper cup of coffee, if they just had like a very, very basic one there that they could sort of promote, I think that would help Starbucks.
I'll tell you this much.
Yeah.
Everyone complains about the lines and the experience.
At what?
But at Starbucks, especially at airports. But everyone's still in it. That's all I'm saying. Like whenever we were just recently traveling, so I'm gonna tell you right now. Like you might see people grumbling about it, but I don't see anybody leaving the line. That's really
no. It's the best product. People pay up. It's why Apple costs more. It's like
that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
People pay up for the best, and it's just like we are a consumption
and
business.
Good leadership.
But they're changing out those. So the ones at the airports are the problems. That's the problem. Like I've pretty much never waited. Like Starbucks, I just order on the app, go there and pick it up. Like the problem is the experiences at these other places. Like they closed one at our Loblaws because it was just like a little kiosk, which is a grocery store, airports and all that. I just know that's what Brian was saying.
They need to change that experience because
because they don't even give first of all, you go to Starbucks, you don't like your drink, they'll just give you a coupon, another free one. Like so, there's the customer service and everything there for me, anyways, has always been pretty good. So, all right, just quickly here, Intel's back into this level, so I am going to put another piece out here. I just tried to bid 83s and it ripped up. See, that's the problem. Sometimes when you bid something, it'll move against you relatively quickly. So we'll see if we get an 83 there. I don't know. That's where the 50-period moving average is. It's a 30-cent winner, whatever. We're sitting here sleeping basically on Google, not much happening, which makes me think about, Palantir. So again, the number one P&L name here, and it's not even close for the show, will be Palantir. And of course, we love this stock. And look what happened, man. It came right back into 66 again. Too bad. Like, I cannot believe that I sat here and let this happen. Palantir comes right back into that level, then Rip City from there. But this is Palantir early. We said we would wait for that dip into 66.60. It was so nice. We hit it twice. Then we got this long at 66 just before we left the show initially at 10:30. My best out, and it's the ultimate out right there, 66.77. So this trade actually goes 7-1. If you were watching the show earlier, we talked about where our stop was, and then there it is, man, right there. We wound up getting out of, I think it was 20 or 30%, almost all of it, right when we left that midday show to throw it over to the midday show. It's your number one stock of the day. It's Palantir. What's up, Adara?
Just be aware here, we do have TSLA on watch. Fidelity Fund apparently boosting the value of its stake in X, which of course is also owned by Tesla CEO Elon Musk there, by 32%. So just be aware, Fidelity apparently increasing its X stake by 32%. With that in mind, also take a look at DXYZ, which does own a good amount there of SpaceX. So TSLA on watch here, guys.
Yeah, the other vehicle for owning SpaceX is well, there's a few of them out there, but Kathy, what's the Arc? There's the Arc Venture, which owns a bunch of SpaceX. If you want exposure to it, that DXYZ, I don't know. From what little I know about it, there was some question about its valuation relative to the names that it does own and their recent funding rounds. Someone basically did the math on X actually, and showed that it did not have a very attractive valuation relative to the things it was holding if you look at all the most recent funding rounds, because it's just obviously a bunch of pre-IPO and private names that it does own. So I'm not a huge fan of that DXYZ. I think you got to look almost elsewhere. A little bit of a pullback coming into Apple. Like I said, if it gets back down to 239, that's the area we're looking for a buy. SMCI kind of holding this tight range, 42.5 into like 43.80, 43.90. So you're still seeing it play out, but it just double tapped that top and does look a little bit weaker here. I mean, the market's still holding and bouncing nicely. SMCI is what's the word I want to use here? It doesn't have the same level of, let's say, not volatility is not the right, velocity in the tape. That's the word I want to look for. The velocity in the tape is not what you were seeing on this move from 42 to 43. It's distinctly different. I don't know if I would reload it a third time, at least not until I see that change. So if we lose contain, I'm going to jump out and then wait for a more attractive price where maybe people want to transact in this a little bit more. DJT, we never got into DJT as it didn't really give you a consolidation off the 32 level, but it is continuing to go higher. So I think this one is still looking fairly strong. And Jaspreet Singh, I did just check out Mara, but I'm still of the mind that Mara is a short to pop. So if it gets into 25 to VWAP, I'm looking fade on Mara. It's already given you the SSR bounce off 24, I think. So I think you got your long. But what I see on the higher time frame is a failed break on the daily. So there you go. Failed breakout on the daily from here about that 28. We put in a big wick high, and then there was a continuation short that got underneath prior support at about $25. So until it gets back above this area, 25, I'd look for a rollover on Mars. It's not really changing the overall short thesis. Could be wrong, but if it comes into 25, I'm looking for like a curl or a mean revert back into the low.
Okay. SPY is going, okay.
A little bit.
All right, so NASDAQ starting to go now. Yeah, SPY right here starting to go back up to the upside. I mean, I have like a little hot to go list right here. And we can just see what exactly is going on right now with it. So here is our hot list. This is brought to you by eSignal. So I'm going to pull down a chart here and just see if there's anything actually going on right now for all of you right now. So yeah, it does showcase Mara right here as going through many trades right now. Mara starting to go to the downside. Again, today down 10%, but now starting to pick back up. There's Mara, nice little actionable trade there. NVIDIA is the next one, starting to push through some volume right now. And as you can see, and again, this is trade rate. So this is going to show you all the stocks that are kind of popping off right now. So it's NVIDIA, Mara. Look at NVIDIA, no wonder. This is a 1 minute chart. Nice retracement back for NVIDIA, bouncing off 138 right now. Great trade there. Tesla, I'm not going to talk about SMCI. SMCI is 42.50. You can see that. Right now, nice move to the high side there for Tesla. Again, I love the stock. We talked about that earlier, trying to break higher through that 360 area. This was going to be one of the top top trades that I had written down there today, but I had written down on Tesla here 350 or 249. Sorry, 349. I initially wrote down 249. That did not come into play. So right there, there's the bottom right there, 351. We'll see if we're able to get that at some point. I don't know. That's Tesla, SMCR. You can see they're all starting to move. There's TSLA is in there. Roblox, we sort of talked about that. New Holdings right here. A big trade that we had on New Holdings before as well was on that rebalance. You could see Apple 52-week highs. Oh, did it? Yeah. Well, sorry, I wasn't here to get that. But right there, New Holdings, you guys know that we sort of crushed out on that imbalance. MSTR, PCG. So here's some of the names that are moving around. And, you know, I'll keep on checking these to see if there's, like, what the heck's MGR. Sometimes the trade rates, yeah, see, it's just nothing. It's just like,
manager?
You don't get anything. Yeah, MGR.
Affiliated Managers Group.
Right, there you go. So if you're a manager, you might want to check out MGR right there. But yeah, Tesla, 357, 358. What about a break higher on Tesla? So that could be a trade that we have a look at. But that's just a quick little look there at the trade rate indicator from eSignal, one that I use often to try to find different trades. So yeah, right now, not much for me. We could talk about Google. Not much is happening here. Obviously, it's not even moving. We were lucky enough to get that fill, but not lucky enough to get any other ones as nothing's happened at all. We've been in this stock for what, a half hour now almost? What time was this? 2:30, yeah. And we got 10 cents and it's at the same spot. I think we got to look somewhere else. Intel, nice fall down for Intel again. We got that VWAP. We'll see if we can get a little bit lower. One trade, we actually do have a losing trade today, and it's not a big one, but it is going to be a little bit of an L here. This is going to be about 2 cups of coffee. As there it is, we had DraftKings. It lost VWAP, and then it lost $44. So once it lost $44, we were out of it again. Not much skin off our back here with that trade, but at the end of the day, it was a losing trade for me. DraftKings, but that's going to be the only losing trade. And as Neil mentioned there, you know, like, what I lost on DraftKings is just a fraction here.
That's all that really matters.
Of what we would. Well, no, all that really matters at the end of the day is P&L. But at the end of the day, Neil's right. You want to make sure that you do not have, and exactly great point, you don't want your biggest loser to be more than your biggest winner. I mean, some days it will happen when you actually take risks, but you know, you want to try to control that, and it will happen. So unfortunately, that is something. But today, thankfully, I think for both of us that's not the case at all.
You know what was a miss today, though?
Yeah.
And I'm slapping this one on myself because look, ARM, and we get to ARM, because Arthur Grasso, and a shout out to you, Arthur. Thank you for putting this one in the chat. Although you said LPA and or ARM thoughts. Okay, well, I'll answer about ARM because I have no LPA. I just don't know. So, you know, we're honest around here. If you guys ask us about a symbol, I'm like, I have no clue. I haven't looked at it at all. I actually was going to talk about Lockheed Martin because someone was asking about that, and I like that one on the chart, although I understand why some people don't like investing. Fair enough. But ARM, nice hold of the 200 period, and this is starting to look pretty good again. Now, this is one, the valuation for a lot of people is going to be a turnoff. I get that, but essentially they got themselves a monopoly. Ultimately. So that's one of the reasons why. And you have a lot of insiders that just do not sell and are not going to sell this stock, right? Remember, NVIDIA wanted to buy them outright. That raised all you know what, because absolutely no chance it could have gone through from antitrust reasons, but that would have been powerhouse. So nobody that owns this, all the insiders and all the corporations that do, they're not really sellers, but closing essentially above the 200 period, and now you're going to consolidate for a potential 50 period breakout. This is another one that has a great shot to run next. Up 5 points today. When ARM decides it wants to go, this is a stock where if it makes a monster breakout, usually you want to make the continuation play. So the reason I was slapping the fail is just look at Friday's high, and then look at where the prior, like there's Friday's high, it blows through that, goes right into the next most obvious level, which would be right in here, 138, 138, 138, dips into 138 and continues to go higher. So if you're looking for continuation longs today in the middle of the day, technically ARM gave you a great one and you already knew it was a super strong stock. So okay, Apple's still going, it's trying to go. But IBIT is starting to run into a little bit of, well, it's VWAP, to be honest. Getting into VWAP and starting to curl in here. So I did move the trail once. Now I'm just going to tighten it up again. VWAP was always going to be the target area. So when it gets there, we're going to tighten up that target. Apple has not given us a dip buy at 239, but that could be a good thing because it's holding on to VWAP. And what I was saying about NU. So NU, which was
New Holdings, it's called.
New Holding, no, but they had, I forget what day it was that your imbalance was, the imbalance that you had on it. But when MSCI had their rebalancing day, oddly enough, if you look back, there were 1 million stocks that had huge buy imbalances or sell imbalances. One of the best traded trades, when you look back, it wasn't even close to the biggest notional imbalance, NU. Not even close. There were many bigger ones. But it was one of the cleanest trades if you took it. So looking back, from now on, if I see an imbalance on NU, even if it's not necessarily the biggest one, that's now twice. Where if it's got a huge imbalance, it shows up early and it just trended. But it wasn't nearly the biggest one, but I don't think that matters. You want things that trade the way you want. It doesn't have to be the biggest imbalance. And that's one thing, it's not enough to just show you guys the imbalances. Sometimes we have to be able to act on them. Because I was looking at a bunch of other names which weren't doing what you wanted that had bigger notional imbalances on that day. And ultimately, all you had to do was punch long on NU the second we got an early look. And it never had a red candle until right at the end.
Yeah, I heard we crushed MSCI. Unfortunately, I wasn't here, and I heard from Obi that if I was here, maybe a little bit of a different story, but I'm glad that everyone did look at that and hit it appropriately. Congratulations to everybody trading that day. All right, so MSCI rebalance again. We're going to have another one coming up, the S&P 500 one, the third Friday in December, so your boy will be here for that one, and we will make sure to look at everything that we possibly can.
Remember, it actually comes with the 20th.
Is it the 20th? Okay, yeah, whatever because the Friday, because right now is the first second, so you just got to do the math there to get that all figured out. So yeah, shout out to everybody that will be trading rebalances, and we'll show you guys the imbalance locator on those days, just like we will right now. You have Enbridge, Ford. I mean, these are going to be all New York names. These are not big names. I mean, they're big names, but they're not going to be big amounts of share sizes. These are always here. You always see Enbridge on there. That's not going to mean anything. What these imbalances are, of course, are the end of the day imbalances, where you'll figure out what's going to close, market on close orders, and that generally affects the price of your equity or your instrument that you're looking at there at the end of the day. So be very, very careful with that. So because we don't have a very big position, I'm actually going to wait for 171.10s again. So if we come back into there, this is going to be one of those trades where we're trying to go 5 to 1, 6 to 1 on this. So we'll put on some shares back in at 171, right at that VWAP level right there, because we've held it all day. Honestly, all day. We came in there. We'll see if it wants to give it up at the end of the day. Would not be a surprise if it does give it up, but right there, 170. I mean, it's probably going to be a little bit different if I look it up on e-signal, but right now VWAP is, let me see, get the exact number there, 171.15. So yeah, we're coming into that level right now. We're going to try to dip buy into this for Google. If it drops 171, we're gone. So we can actually now put in our stop order. And again, we'll probably take about half the position that we would have if this was like an Apple trade that was in the morning or something like that. So let's go 170.94. We don't want to get absolutely taken out the minute it breaks. Oh, I already have a stop. Oh, I already have a stop breaking almost at that same level, breaking through 90s. Okay, so we'll just keep that there. Maybe we'll get it, maybe we won't. But right now, Google, we'll try to buy this dip a little bit, and we're going to wait for 10. So if that comes in, 171 and change is what we're going to be getting. 171.11s is actually what I'm going to be waiting at right now for Google. So we're going to put a bid right there, as we just did, and see if that can come in now and get filled up here. So that's going to be a little bit of a level for me with Google. We'll see if we can get it.
Yeah, and that's sort of the thing. Always about, look, whether it comes to the price or not, I mean, all you can ever do, it's like poker. You just, get your chips in when you have the opportunity. Sometimes your aces get busted. I know we've all been there. Well, I shouldn't say we've all been there. Anyone who's played has certainly been there. But you got to put the orders out in order to be able to get that fill. I did just see someone in the chat. Well, I'm going to talk about Mara first because it did now it's getting parabolic. So the entry plan I have for Mara, it could curl at VWAP, but it's just going to be like a mean reversion. And since so it held 24, you can see the new little uptrend that it's got. Since it went a little bit more parabolic is a revert that I'm looking for. So, if it's able to break underneath this tighter trend line or look for the curl at VWAP, that's the trade I'm looking for here on Mars. That means it's going to fail underneath 25, or we're going to get a curl at about $25.50. You're seeing Bitcoin make a bit of a move. Here's want to get you guys a Bitcoin chart. What's that, a 15-minute? Yeah, 15 minutes, good enough. So you're seeing Bitcoin make a bit of a move as we're now breaking and holding above 96,000 ever so barely. Nice. So ideally, in a perfect world, you get to VWAP on Mara, and Bitcoin kind of curls at the 96. But I'll keep an eye on it. I do have this. Oops. I do have this up. Oh, I didn't mean to. There. I do have Bitcoin up so I can see the price at all times up on my screen. But every now and then I also want to look at the chart as well, just to show you guys. If we get back underneath that 96, that's the confirmation I want. If we're screaming and all of a sudden at 97 and there's no sign of a curl or a reversion on Mara, I'm not just going to sit in front of that offer and have it break away. So again, looking for either the trend reverse or just a curl off of VWAP, whichever one happens to happen first, which is not the first time that I have said that mouthful. So we're at VWAP on IBIT. Similar thing, if we break trend, not the cleanest trend line, but my stop is underneath 54.5 at this point. So if we lose that, we're going to jump out of it. And I also saw someone asking about Rivian in the chat. Oops. Yeah, ugly. That's about all I could say for Rivian. It does not hold on to the 200 period. I said this in the morning. This is like a wait and see when if it pulls back into the 50 period moving average. I think you got your break away from 10. It went right into the first resistance spot, which was going to be $13 anyways, and then it's backing off 13. It had the catalyst of getting money from the government, which, let's be real, seemed like it was politically motivated, but it doesn't matter. A loan's a loan, and they need money because they lose money on all their vehicles. So I think the next step would be pulling back into the 50 period here at about 1070. But I'll keep an eye on that. Maybe $11 holds up as well. So Apple into VWAP. Still not much going on here with IBIT or MAR. Like I said, I do not want to jump in and rush. But it's now all it needs to do is close underneath that trend line, which I have to put back in. It does a close underneath here. Then I'll look to grab the short to the local high. That's the entry plan. Got about a couple of minutes until this bar closes.
All right, so we did get reloaded here on our friend Google, not reloaded, I guess reloaded, yeah. We never really got out of their clips. So we will get another trade going for Google. And again, you guys know what we're talking about here. We just talked about buying that 117.11, so that's what we get now. Our average price is 21s. So it'll be again, you know what, I'm gonna actually change that 170.94. Yeah, if it breaks lower, we'll get out of that. So we just want to make sure that our scripts are set up and ready to go here for Google in case it does flash down a little bit. The market's trending nowhere. So this is the NASDAQ. So Google's coming back in. So a little bit of I don't want to say a surprise. The market never really surprises me, but with the market not doing anything, I thought that a name that's been up here today, and we often get in trouble when these kind of things happen. I'm the first one to admit this. Like, I have these thoughts, and then the next thing you know, they're completely not opposite or anything like that, but they just don't work out. And the market just says, nah, you know what? We're going to punish this Google trade and continue to go to the downside. I'm going to put some offers in the 20s, see if we can get something out on the upside if it does happen to go there. But if it doesn't, all good. Google right now, out of the money, 4 cents. Take it out, please, if you don't like it. I'm going to hold on to this, bouncing off of 171. Let's see. We probably obviously, we're 10 cents wrong on this price because we talked about getting that 171.10s. Didn't think it would necessarily come in here, especially if the market was doing nothing. But people always tell me, Sean, why are you doing this when you should just be trading the market? And shout out to Adam and everybody else out there that sees real trading. You guys know that that's generally the best spot to put your money would be in the futures. And I think that we've done the best trading the futures. So I will have to revisit this very soon and just make sure that we are in the right spot, in the right names, at the right time. And I'm going to rerun some of the numbers because the TQs there for a minute was my best. You haven't
traded that in a bit.
Was my best stock, yeah. So we definitely want to make sure that we.
That's anecdotal, by the way.
That we keep that. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I definitely want to check it out. We had some good trades on it, but
my memory is not always the best. But my gut feel would be anecdotally, I've seen you win it fewer times. But then I don't know. Like, you've been off a couple times, so it could.
Plus I take hits on it too. It's not.
I don't know. No, but it feels like it hasn't been as much. Well, the other thing is I feel like we've seen a little bit less movement in the afternoons and in the futures, in a general sense. So there has been a little bit of a seed change in the afternoons. And, okay, I'm just going to shout out to Yavuz Khan. I probably got that wrong. That's my bad. And if I get your name wrong, feel free to, like, crap on me.
You probably didn't.
Who knows? But you mind checking out Mara? Sure. Actually, just got into it. And then someone was asking thoughts on NVIDIA this week. I'll go into that in a second. But, there was that trend. It barely closed underneath trend line, but it did. Like I said, short, give to local high. If it gets to VWAP, that's a separate trade because it was either going to get to VWAP get to view up like 25.5, or it was going to curl somewhere underneath, and we would trail it to there. And then as far as NVIDIA goes, the question was for the week on NVIDIA, I suppose. Well, I think you've already put the bottom in. I wanted to show you the daily chart. It's at the 50 period. I have to zoom back in so you can see. So you've held the 50 period. So look at that rejection candle under the 50 period. Just once, by the way. This other one's just some dark pool stuff that we got. So you have a rejection under the 50 period, and then you have a hold of the 50 period on the daily. So this just to me looks like a hold that's support at about 135, 136, and look for longs off of that. The problem with NVIDIA is when it gets to the top, it seems like there's more sellers than it used to be on NVIDIA. So just got to be a little bit careful with it. But I do like the setup. Hold that 50, that nice little rejection wick, and then you're going to have a knock on wood, green one above that 50 period moving average. So I like AMD longs a little bit better. That's why I gave it as a trade idea over the weekend. But NVIDIA, I like that hold of the 50 period. I just think AMD's got more room to move from here than NVIDIA does, unfortunately, because NVIDIA's been so good.
Yeah, NVIDIA's been amazing. Oh boy. Okay. We're going to be at the high spot where we've been at all day. I mean, look at this Google. There it goes, man. Hopefully we can get that up. But we took something out at the 50 period. That's 32s or so on this move upside right now. So let's go, NVIDIA. Make them sing, or Google, make them sing, baby. Right back there up to the upside. I'm going to take out an opportunity now to get some more out. There we go. Get some more out of Intel, as we will take that opportunity to get an 87 there or 86 as it still good trading so far here this afternoon as we put this on right for you at 2 o'clock. That's been a good short. The Google long, I mean, we said that we would wait for VWAP. I mean, let's give it up right now. It's a chicken dinner winner. But at the end of the day, oh, by the way, my wife, oh boy, yesterday, so she got 2 chickens. She roasted them both. We had one last night. I mean, roasted chicken to me is like pretty much the best. I mean, I like barbecue, but roasted at this time of day, oh man, this time of year when it's cold outside. So she roasted 2. Tonight she's making a chicken bone broth, obviously, with the other carcass there. And tonight it is chicken orzo. So she's making an orzo with the vegetables, the fresh chicken, all that kind of stuff in there. Man, oh man, Marissa, have yourself a chicken dinner winner. That should be a heck of a lot of fun tonight in the Katina household as we get home, run to the rink.
Probably drive.
Come back. Yeah. Well, I'll make her run on the side there. It's only about 20 kilometers away. And as we get there and we go, and we'll be there. But yeah, definitely. And then I got to get, they play at Ford Performance Center, the same place that the Maple Leafs practice out of.
Yeah.
So we've seen, I mean, we're lucky to do this. Like, my daughter has met pretty much the Montreal Canadiens were there last week whenever they were in town. So she was able to meet all of them.
Montreal.
As well, yeah. I didn't really know too many players over there, but the Maple Leafs are always there. And, of course, the PWHL, which is the women's hockey, they're there as well.
I got an uncle.
Like, I walked right by Brendan Shanahan and Tree Living and all these guys. Man. Like, these are guys like, you're talking about like the Blue Jays. I'm sure you've met Ross Atkins and all those guys. But at the same time, it's like, I shook hands with Brad Tree Living. Like, I mean, the access that you can get with some of these places has been pretty phenomenal.
But the only reason the only reason I met the GM is because I'm a season ticket holder. Like, I'm not running into those guys and asking them questions.
Yeah, well, he was watching Trader TV, so he said what's up to me, and I was like, yo, my guy. I mean, come on, man. I was like, no autographs or anything, but it was nice. It was nice.
I like Shanahan. That's a legend.
Oh, Charlie Taft's birthday.
Is it really? I was gonna say
sushi on the birthday. I like that one.
Sushi.
Oh man, I hurt my shoulder.
I am definitely a big fan of the sushi. And you know what? The best part about sushi, at least in my household, is my 7-year-old daughter loves sushi to the point where we have to dial it back pretty much the amount of times she wants to order it once a week. She wants us having sushi, which to me, that's a little bit much. I love it. Okay, we'll go into a dare. I thought I was getting, okay, that's fine. Let's go to the dare at the desk.
Sorry to interrupt here. It is worth noting we have comments coming through right now from Feds Waller saying, amongst other things, that Feds Waller does lean towards supporting a rate cut in December. So we have a little bit more cryptic comments from Feds Bostic earlier today saying that there doesn't need to be concern if there isn't a cut every meeting. But Feds Waller actually saying that as of right now, they, quote, lean towards supporting a December cut, but also adding there's still a long way to go towards reducing policy to get back to that neutral rate, saying that the monetary policy does remain remain sufficiently restrictive. So the key comment here is the fact that Fezwaller is leaning towards the December cut. Apparently, though, if there's a data surprise, that could change things. But if things stay the course, looks like we could, at least from one Fed member, be looking for that cut in December, guys.
AMD. Yeah, very good look there. And remember, when the Fed's talking, or anyone from the Fed's talking, I know we don't care as much as when we're in a rate cycle where there's some questions, but it certainly does matter. Well, you know what else matters? Trade the Pool stock trading competition has begun. Over 2,500 traders are competing to prove they have what it takes to rule the pool. Let's check out the leaderboard and see who's leading the chart on day one. Well, I can tell you, we still have Tony JH. I know Sean was talking about this. Tony JH from the Philippines, 78% win rate, 60K P&L. SNTI is their number one. If he stays up there, he'll win an evaluation account of 160K in buying power to trade with. Second place, we got Mahmoud Saad Ahmed there. He will win 80K buying power if he holds on to it. Also trading a little bit SNTI. In third place, we've got Cynics the Cool. Up a cool 38K on PPBT. They'll win an evaluation count of 20K buying power. It's only the beginning. Stay tuned. By the end of the week, you'll know who has won the big prize. I just want to point out, everyone's like, SNTI, PBPT. But I did see this in a little bit of a juxtapose. Song Yi, someone actually trading AMD, some MSTR in there. There's a lot taking shots at an SNTI. I'll say if you were able to bank it, I mean, Shopify in there. I'm going to check to see what Shopify is doing today because someone in 50th place actually made bank on Shopify, which, to be honest, I didn't even consider as a trade today. So out of my own curiosity, spoiler alert, I still have some shares of Shopify. I have not bought or sold Shopify in a very long time, so it's nothing that is really gripping my mind right now, except for the fact that I remember Shopify had made a 52-week high and pulled back. Well, guess what? It made another 52-week high and pulled back. Yay, Shopify. So once again, I don't know, Shopify. It is what it is. But I did not see this at the open. Obviously, I'm going to make the assumption that it was a short trade that won. Just going to go out on a limb. It could be like 115 broke and it just dropped like $4 like an absolute rock. You could have made a reverse trade, but like, wow, that is a hefty pullback in Shopify. One which I will admit I was unaware of. Didn't see that one coming. But you saw that with the retail names, man. Amazon did not fare nearly as well as I would have anticipated. Just going to get on the bid on a 25 break here of Mara. And it was Amazon and Affirm. That was the other one. So all these names that were getting the bump on Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and all, record numbers across the board. Affirm's now down on the day, down 3%. Amazon is still up 1%, but it was one of the stronger stocks this morning, and now all of a sudden it's not really getting that juice. So you did see a bit of a sell the news event here on Cyber Monday from all the names that had caught that bounce. So I don't wonder on Shopify, just to bring it back to where it all started, if it pulls in a higher low. I mean, the last time it did this, parabolic pullback, put a higher low, retest the high. Hey, this level here, about 109, 110. Like that's what, to me, like if you're looking for a continuation trade, well, either it's going to give you 100 or the 50 period or 110. So if it can calm down, hold 110 for a week, this one could be another ramp to the upside. It's been performing fantastically, to be honest with you. It's a great one. At some point, like a lot of stocks, and I've been doing not enough of this, like stocks that are not in my core. Like I bought it at one point, and I might have took some profit at some point, but I'm still holding on to a bunch of it. It's like that, and this is where the cash comes in because I've been doing some of that cleanup, but not enough. It's like, do I still want this in the long term? Do I like other things better? And when the answer is yes, it's like, well, just sell this other thing and then move into something else, right? Like I keep talking about liking Costco, but it's like, okay, why am I not only in Walmart, Costco, and Amazon? Because I still have a bunch of other stuff. So when I do sell some Shopify, I know where I want that money to go. I have nothing against Shopify. I think they're great. It's just the curse of Canada is unbroken.
Yeah, Shopify. Continue to watch that. I mean, we saw Square up today as well. Thank you, Rivian Millionaire. I mean, yeah, so far so good on Google. I mean, I only have 40% left of this trade. I mean, hopefully this can come back to the upside there. So again, you know, you guys know we got some out up top there, and then we got some out again. So yeah, for right now, we're not overly heavy in this stock. Well, still 45%. So actually still have a position here, hoping that we can get a nice upside move, hoping that that will come through. Thank you, Rivian Millionaire, for that right there. So we got Mara, Apple, iBit. So we're long. We're only short here, Intel, and we are short Mara there. All right, so Intel right now, it's not moving anything. We were really, really excited when that happened, when all of a sudden volume came in as we broke 24 there to the downside. So that's going to turn out to be a half decent look there on Intel. But I'm just trying to get some orders set up here because I want to make sure that Google, I'm just making sure I don't have any more bids. I'm not bidding anything else here. The futures continue to move higher now, and Google continues to go the other way. Like, I'm not impressed at all with this trade, but I'm impressed with my patience, to be honest with you. And I mean, it's like, sometimes you have to wait for trades to develop, and I think we did a pretty good job right now of waiting for this and getting it into those levels. But again, once we get back up to the 50 period, we got to get some out. So we were lucky enough to get something at 32, and then our last out there is like only 25s or something. So we need this to go back up. Although we are long, look, I could see I'm in the money now. I'm in the money nicely. Like, if I close this trade right now, it'll be again right there as a green name, but we're trying to see if it will go just a little bit higher. A name that we've sort of left by its lonesome here, and this is my cup of coffee trade of the day, is NVIDIA. All of these trades, right? Like, I go in and out, in and out, in and out. It's not even that many shares right now. I mean, I could tell you in total just a couple hundred shares right there. Still going to be a decent amount of shares, but at the end of the day, we're going to be flat on this name. So a lot of work for nothing right there on NVIDIA. When I really liked it. I liked it breaking higher there. We missed that first run. We get a little bit of FOMO. Buy that there at 937. Still fine with it. Still happy with that buy. Comes up. We make 60, 70 cents. We get some out around 140. It doesn't want to go through 140. We try again at VWAP, make a little bit there, and then it drops out. This is where we tried 139. I like the VWAP trade. Hey, look, I'm here. We talk about this. I'm here to make or lose money, and right there, NVIDIA on this trade did not work out, and it's an L there for NVIDIA for me today. That'll be the only one, and then DraftKings slightly more lost on this name, but again, like, nothing. So we'll sit here and wait. Right now, what we've been making on Google is what we've lost on DraftKings. So hopefully we can go net and actually make a little bit of money. But that's going to mean that Google needs to get back to this 50 period, and then we'll be fine. And then we'll be able to do okay on that one. SMH. Oh, we talked about, okay, so XOM was 117.80 when I was like, maybe we should go short. I'm only saying that for myself. I don't know. Oh, well, okay. Same exact level right here,
Triple
right now.
top.
So what? Yeah, I was talking about it. I liked the short in this name, and it was just because where it had gone. And I mean, we had liked it before right here. Now it's, yeah, quadruple tops right now for this. So watch out here as we continue to be interested in XOM at these tops. So just watch out. 117.80 again, could be a good break for tomorrow. Maybe this is on the radar for tomorrow.
So I just I did it again. I'll use the black chart for iBit, but I just trailed out of iBit. I just hit the blue ocean there. So iBit just came back underneath. It's not going to be VWAP, but on this chart, but it just came back underneath 54.30. This chart, the black chart's missing a little bit of data in there. But iBit does do the pullback. I had my trail in on it. Let's see if I can now reload it, and you'll see it. There we go. So it broke the trend, got back underneath VWAP. So I'm now out. What also just happened, and again, I don't know. Look, you have a small candle losing VWAP on iBit, and then MSTR has this rather large $5 candle as it loses VWAP. So as usual, and this has always been true of MSTR, but lately, specifically whenever there's like a little bit of a bid drop, when the bid drops on Bitcoin, the bid pulls on MSTR, at least temporarily. So I think that's the reason for the move down. Obviously, we'll get a little bit fortunate in that happened at the time that we happen to be in Mara. It is what it is. Like, I don't think, like, Bitcoin pulls back VWAP, MSTR loses $5, Mara's probably going to come back and give us a 24.60 print here. So I think that's one of those things where I do have Bitcoin up. It's right at the 96,000. We haven't even broken 96,000 yet. And if you do, I think we're going to see 24.5. There was another name that I saw a few people putting into the chat that I wanted to go to. There was some, I know what it was. And, sometimes we try to give, we always try to give the answers that that we believe are correct and the right thing to say, not what
Oh, you do?
wanna
I
hear.
always give the wrong answers on purpose.
No, it's only because when we get asked about these small cappers, I always preface it because as Abasali here, buying SNTI a good idea or not. So again, we never know what time frame you're talking about if you frame it that way. So I'll give you a couple of looks here. It's 3:30, so I don't think I would be trading it. From a pure like day trade standpoint, hey, this has been a good level day trading it today. Like if this is in the middle of the day, taking a 10 long, giving it down like a buck when it's high as 17, that's not bad. You risk a buck and the high of the day is $7 away on a runner, which has got great R vol. It's done 126 million in vol. It's a nice little day one play. Like that I don't have an issue with. If you're talking about buy it and swing it, I know literally nothing about this company, why it's going to be up 400%, and if it should even hold it. So I, generally speaking, if a stock goes from $2 and it's at $10, am I usually buying it? Not unless I know a good reason why I would want to take that kind of a risk. So day trade, not bad. I think if you had a little more time for it to go. At 3:30, I don't love that. But certainly VWAP, $10 looks okay. But up 400%?
Boom.
Yeah, not my cup of tea. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're in the money, congratulations. But I don't think I've ever chased anything like the first day of a move that was up 500%. I just find like where would my out be? And a lot of times I can't find a good one on a swing trade. Like you can't give it to $10 because it's at $10. I'd just be making up an out at this point. Usually I want those things to settle down day 2, day 3 and make some kind of a low. All right, so we just had that pullback in Bitcoin through VWAP and MSTR pulling back, and you're not really rapidly falling. This area here, 2470, where there was some consolidation, is giving a little bit more, and it is 3:30. So I'm gonna hop on the bid. Also reminding myself this stock is SSR. So it's short sell restricted, which means it's not gonna cascade down as easily as it would normally. I'm just gonna pop on the bid at 24.8. We're short at 25.13. So we'll see if we can get some more out here. So 25.84, I should say. Just gonna take that fill. There's nothing compelling on the early look yet, except for a sell on new. And it reminded me, each of the times that NU has been a good trade on the imbalance, it's been a buy. So yes, it's a sell right now, but it's been a buy, and it's been a buy of usually over 7, 8 million or like 10 million shares. So this sell of 1 million doesn't really interest me. But if it was a large buy on NU, that's when it's been a good and profitable trade at the close.
Neil, my guy, many people said it wasn't possible, but we did it again right now. So there it is, man. Another one right there. Another 4-to-1 winner for you on Google. So there it goes, man. We just talked about that. I mean, congratulations to everybody that's been over there in trading this with your boy, because there goes Google. Nice move to the upside. And look, I mean, like, you know, I'm here to give you guys winners and hopefully talk about stocks, and I think we're doing both of those. So there goes Google. I mean, if you have one trade this afternoon, and it was this one, there it is right there, 4-to-1, risk to reward, right? So that's the kind of stuff right there, regardless of what kind of shares you're using. This trade, I mean, we brought it to you, we talked about it. There it goes right now. It is an absolute monster there for Google. And again, man, we reloaded it back up. We talked about what our exact trade plan was right there for Google. So it'll be another good day for us on that name. But, you know, you never know. Tomorrow we could give it all back, but we'll still stay disciplined and still do what we're doing here every single day. 1, 2, 3, 4. Only 6 names today. Pretty successful overall. So Tesla, nice end of day jam up. Okay, we'll have a quick little look over there on TSLA and see what kind of jam up is happening. Oh boy. Today when we were at 351, I said today, Randy was sitting right there. I said, we probably get to 360 today. I didn't believe it myself, but there it goes right there. Nice move there for Tesla. Congratulations to all my Tesla heads out there, because there you go, man. We talked about this. Boom. I even came on the midday show with Joe and was like, love that call there with Tesla. There goes the move right back, breaking that 360. And here we go. TSLA. Again, you know, to say this wasn't on our mind, I mean, right it is right here. Tesla was our #1 trade idea. Obviously, we're really happy that we have Palantir and Apple, P&L 1 and 2, but at the same time, Tesla right there looking like it wants to break through 60. And oh boy, when it does, I think we got a nice little runner here. The only problem is EOD, end of day, could be a petite problem. I'll still try to take it. Let me see what happens on the break. I'm going to put 360, like, okay, so 01, and then we'll see where we get going a little bit higher here on Tesla. We'll cross up 20 cents and see if we can make that happen. But there it is right now, man. We'll put Obviously, Google in our pocket right here. Big time trade alert right there for GOOGL. And I trade this because of the more volume, but there are GOOL that you can trade as well.
I don't know anybody that trades Goog. It's just
no, I don't. I mean, I know some people in the chat were saying that they did, but
really? Okay, no, fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same levels. It's just you're going to have to look at the chart's going to look exactly the same, but the prices are going to be different. And again, congratulations to anybody that hit that one right there on Google as it continues to go higher. So there it goes. Nice little move up there. As I'm very, very excited for this chicken dinner tonight.
Yeah, chicken dinner. I actually don't know what we're having tonight. We're gonna have to double check when we get home. Never really know, but I have a funny feeling it will probably involve chicken because 90% of the time we have it all the time. No, I'm just joking. I love that line from one of my favorite movies, Anchorman. But I think it's 80% of the time works 100%.
You're right.
Not 90%.
Right.
It's 80% of the time works 100% of the time. I just love that line. No, but Mara. Mara in here, it gave us that 30-cent win. Remember I said it was choking up or consolidating at 24.80? So we're in at 13s, consolidation at 24.80, this prior support. I said I probably don't want to reload this. It's about 335 in there. We move this trail back into the break-even price, but if it only gives you a 30-cent win, it only gives you a 30-cent win, $25 stock. Apple still doing the same thing as before. Like it's just holding right around this 239.5. I just thought you'd get a little bit more relative movement out of Mara. Obviously, it's a $25 stock, so it can move 1% a little easier than Apple's going to move that 1 point. It has not trailed me out. I have not added to that position. Again, like if we've just been sitting in it like we were looking at that IBIT as well. But as we're getting close to 350, I'm going to park myself in front of 240 and see if we can't get picked up on the offer, and we're just going to move our trail underneath on Apple. So as I said before, we're going to be out of Mara. We've only shorted it twice. This morning was a hit, and we just try to get a little bit of that back. This morning, when it's at VWAP, I'm going to have more than I put on in the afternoon. And ultimately, you know, the actual A-plus idea for myself on Mara was looking for a short off the prior high at 27.5. It then tried to set up off of VWAP and then didn't give you the VWAP trade all that well. Like it held VWAP underneath not until about 11:30 when I wasn't even sitting at my desk at that particular moment. But we got a little bit more out of it, so we're getting close. We're close to break even on Mara. But remember, the early trade was a misstep because sometimes VWAP is just a line on a chart. The resistance was at 26.50, and I was looking at the VWAP trade. And if you just looked at the resistance at 26.50, that was a much better opportunity. You know, sometimes you win some, you lose some, but I still think this is a weak one. And oh my goodness, Sebastian. Yeah, Rivian, I still think the bottom's closer to 11, not 11.50. Let's go to Adara.
By eSignal. Trade smarter, not harder. Upgrade to an elite trading experience. Analyze, strategize, and capitalize. You can foresee profitable opportunities with a platform that you need. There's also infinite data and instant trading so that you can know where the market's moving before others, because you'll have access to lightning fast data. And not only that, but there's also charts that change the game. Customize and analyze the markets faster, your way. Better backtesting and scanning can help you predict the future by understanding the past. And there's reliable real-time data, which gives you up-to-the-second market info from hundreds of global markets. Everything you need, all in one place. Don't miss a beat. Execute your best trades now. Are you ready to elevate your trading? Just scan that QR code or click the link in the description. And with that, we're going to take a moment here to take a look the last time today, or at least probably as of right now, at this sector board during our power hour. What we're going to do here is take a look at some of these sectors with sector-wide catalysts moving to the upside. We're going to start here with semiconductors. I have AMD, which is up almost 4% here. What this looks like, it has to do with the fact that the Biden administration here in the U.S. has now initiated its third China chip crackdown. So a lot of these U.S.-based chip companies pushing higher to the upside as a result. ASML also strong here as we had the Dutch government opine on chip regulations. LRCX, this is Lam Research. LRCX and AMAT, Applied Materials, also strongly to the upside, actually outperforming the semis. This one up here about 6%. AMAT performing pretty similarly. These ones moving actually on the same catalyst with regards to the chips sanctions here in China. So producer manufacturing side of the chips side also pretty strong. Then we have these cruise lines. CCL here getting a price target increase to $29 from $20 previously from Truist, but it's actually not the only cruise line. Both RCL there, Royal Caribbean, and NCLH also got price target increases from Truist this morning. So these cruise lines sailing to the upside on this Truist price target upgrade. Lots to look at today, guys. Actually, lots of strong sectors here.
Yeah, look, ASML, AMAT, certainly that's a great headline. I know Sharif was talking about AMAT's move, so I don't want to wax too poetically about it. It's been one of the more beat-up chip names, and so for them to say that maybe the fear that everyone had, like the China fear, is not going to be a big, large effect on them, I think that's a fantastic little bottom that it's making. Just keep in mind, anyone that ever trades ASML, its primary market is over in Amsterdam. So it does trade in the U.S. market. It does trade on the NASDAQ. But at 11:30, you're going to see something very distinct whenever you're trading that name. And that's going to be the volume pretty much dying down on it. So do always look out for that when you're trading it. If you are, I'd like them to do a bit of a split. I think that would be fantastic. Just one note here. I've moved the trail on Apple. I don't think I will get back in tomorrow. We might have wicked it out at break even there, but it's now holding a higher low anyways. So it's still holding a higher low. Bitcoin, it broke. What's weird is that Bitcoin broke 96 down, and then Mara is trying to hold a higher low. So all of a sudden, you're not getting the same acceleration. But if we get some kind of a sell imbalance in one of the crypto names, that could be a little bit of a different story.
Getting close.
So we have like 10 minutes to go. I'm not okay. I do have I said I have a target in front of 240 on Apple, and I've moved my trail up, but I'm still in Apple at the 239. It just hasn't really broken this local high yet. My trail went from underneath VWAP to now 239.60, and we'll give it to there. Michael Strom, this LPA that I think a few people are looking at, and again, to each their own, LPA here on the Amex has done 300,000 shares of volume, and there's 20 minutes left in the day. And it just came off of an uphold. It just dropped from $14 to $12. I can tell you the spread is generally about 30 to 40 cents on this, and there is not a lot of liquidity on it. So not a lot of volume. Most of it's been done in the last little bit here, this LPA. Just be a little careful trading this. I mean, there is pretty much nothing on the bid ask. It just, the volume is non-existent on this stock. It's probably why it halted into the upside. So be careful trying to trade this. I wouldn't touch it, even if it was earlier in the day. That's way too little volume. Still nothing on the early look with the exception of Enbridge, we said, NU in there as well. In about 9 minutes, we'll get a bigger update, and then we'll see what's good on these imbalances. Still probably going to look for something in the crypto space or like an Apple, NVIDIA for an I always like to have a level 2 up for a stock that I'm anticipating a move on. I'll be looking at like a Mara potentially, or certainly Apple and certainly NVIDIA for potential imbalances there. And if it's a sell imbalance on Mara, kind of obvious. I just shorted in front of VWAP. If it's a buy imbalance, generally speaking, I don't like it as a buy imbalance right in front of like a local top. I'd rather play a fade off the level that exists.
All right, yeah, I mean, I think we all right now are waiting for those imbalances to come through. I mean, honestly, we got a pretty decent trade right here on Google as it just keeps on sort of mooning here. And I don't want to say moon. It's not mooning the way crypto potentially has been mooning. But this is mooning for me. 67s right now. And again, like, we just, like, when we went long 171, I mean, you guys saw me put my stop order in. It was actually 94s, so we did give ourselves a little bit of room there for this play. But you can see what's happening right now for us as there it goes. So we're long at 11s. Our stop here was 16 cents. It's now 56 cents in the money. So John Travolta's like, who is this guy? That was a nice play right there. We'll take another piece out. Look, man, the ride is real, man. Get on board if you want to. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. I'm doing this every day for everybody, so hopefully we'll be able to have some winners tomorrow. I don't know if we're going to go upside, downside coming in tomorrow, but make sure that you're here to watch because you know I'm going to be here to do this. So there it goes. Huge move again for that. Look, man, we already propsed it up a lot of times here today. We propsed it up for our Intel trade on the short side, and what we talked about that. Our Palantir right here. This was 10 cents worth of risk to give you 7 to 1. And here is live trade for Google. We worked our way into this. We talked about the parameters again for this Google trade, and there it goes. I mean, this is trading. Nice move right there, back up to the upside. I hope you guys are enjoying the show. Make sure you do hit the like and the subscribe. And a big thank you and a big shout out to our whole team here that really got this place humming, man. I mean, we were questionable whether or not. I mean, we were always hoping to be back today, but we were. Yeah, exactly. So congratulations to the team there for getting that all together. Randy, Rob.
They were all in yesterday.
Yeah, exactly.
They all came in on Sunday to make sure that we'd be up today. So shout out to them.
Yeah, exactly. So it's their job. So shout out to those guys. Again, thank you so much for all of that and for keeping us up. Thank you to Bears vs. Bulls and everybody that is involved with the show, because we couldn't put on these winners if we do not have connectivity. So far, so good there today. It's going to be a big day here with only 5 minutes to go. Nothing's really showing up too much on my scanners. I know you just got out of both your positions.
Yep. I did just get the pop in Apple, so I'm now out of it. No positions on. Actually, let me just make sure I cancel. Excuse me. When we get out of position, you have a stop order in. Sometimes you have to manually cancel it depending on the type of stop order that you've used. So I like to be able to do that. But Arthur Grasso, you're welcome.
Arthur.
Yeah, we'll go over anything. If you're in the chat, we don't mind going over symbols for sure. But again, there's the out on Apple. And then there was someone that was asking. I did just miss it. I was gonna answer another question. Oh, there it is. It was you. Is the trading competition still open for entry? So as far as I know, I mean, the trading,
the answer is no.
The answer is no, right? I don't know whether there's going to be another. I mean, obviously, with the success of this, I can't speak for whether there'll be another trade the pool trading competition, but the current competition you already had to be signed up for, and now they're running it. Will there be another one? Hey, I mean, show your interest. Certainly, like again, support us, hit like, subscribe, check out Trade the Pool. I don't know if they're going to do another competition, but if they do, we'll let you guys know all about it if we do another partner up for the competition. But we check the results. Again, it's a competition which has already started. It will end at the end of, I think it's the 6th, right? So the end of this week, it will be over. But it started 2nd to the 6th for that opportunity. So with about 4 minutes to go until we get the end of the day, the closing imbalances at the end of the day, I don't have any orders out and no more positions. But this LPA, which I pulled it up and then showed you guys what it was doing, it's Logistic Properties of Americas. That's the name of the company. And I don't know, offhand, I don't know what that flag is. Oh, Costa Rica. Okay, so it's a Costa Rican company there. I didn't know what the Costa Rican flag is when I looked at it on my trade ideas. It's now halted to the upside. So it's now done 390,000 shares of volume, which is still not a lot, and it's halted at $14. So good luck if you're in it, fantastic. I don't know too much about them or the reason why it would be making this parabolic move, but it's done a very infinitesimally small amount of volume. 390,000 for a $14 stock is very, very tiny. I mean, yeah, like it's extremely tiny. Like if it hasn't done 1 million shares by the end of the day, and it's a small capper, generally speaking, very, very dangerous to try to day trade it. But yeah, if you're in it, it could still open up. But remember, if you're halted past 350, you open at 4 o'clock. That's how the rules work. And let's go over to Adara.
I just want to touch on this Logistic Property of Americas. I'm not seeing a catalyst on this, but I remembered the name, so I looked at this to confirm. It has a tendency of running late in the day with very low volume. I have the daily chart up here, and I can kind of show you. We have these pops. Largest volume we even get on the day, from what I can see here, is about 7 million shares. That would be going back to July. But even then, we get these pops here in May on around the same amount of shares, 300, 400,000 shares. Usually it will end up halting with no catalyst and very low volume. It does have a float of about 3.25 million shares and a 3% short float with a $443 million market cap. But I just wanted to put it out there. This stock is a repeat offender when it comes to popping up on no news with relatively low volume later in the day, guys.
Those repeat offenders.
Yeah, well, this GELS is doing something similar too. So another one here, like less than 500,000 shares, and this one's even cheaper, like a $4 stock doing 500,000 shares, just popped up. I saw a few people talking about this as it hit the top here. If this goes into a halt, I mean, this late in the day, just remember, you're not getting out until 4 o'clock. If it halts in the last 10 minutes, that's a market rule. Volatility halts are 5 minutes or 10 minutes, but if they occur within the last 10 minutes after the imbalances have dropped, then you are getting out at 4. So make sure you know what if you're stuck in this and you're trading in the aftermarket, know what your broker has and does not have available with regards to stop orders, what gateways you can use. Everyone's going to be a little bit different. We can trade relatively normally here at Real Trading, which is 1 or 2 gateways that you can't. But not all brokers have things like stop orders. once the market closes and also in the pre-market. So be careful. The stock is dangerous enough as it is. Let me just go back. Okay, it looks like it was a good out. Mara's back almost at VWAP. So it was probably right not to reload this one. If we had reloaded, we'd just be out of it about 15 pennies. So it wasn't worth it. Remember I said you were making higher lows on Mara when Bitcoin was holding under 96K. So we're back under 96,000. So we got the scalp short, but there's not much continuation here just yet. We'll see what happens with that LPA. I might, with imbalances coming in, I told you the names I want to watch here. NVIDIA, Apple, and Mara are the level 2s I'm going to have up. Just anticipating what might have an imbalance here at 350. So those are the ones I'm going to be looking at. Although none on the early look, that's fine. We tend to see the big NASDAQ stocks, usually 1 or 2 of them, jump up here on that imbalance locator. With about 30 seconds to go, we'll let you guys know. And then aftermarket, we only have like Zscaler. It's very light when it comes to earnings. We do have Zscaler. I know a lot of people have been asking about Palo Alto. We'll probably talk a little bit about them on Sympathy, although it's a better name. And we're going to have our good friend Michael Noss jumping on. So myself, Adair, we'll have Michael Noss. We'll have Zscaler earnings for you. And then we'll be able to go over a little bit of trade review. Get some questions in if you have them. I'm sure there'll be a few about the moves in crypto.
Guys, I mean, right now we're 70 cents in the money on Google, so we're just going to take a piece out here as we get ready for this imbalance to come right now. There it is. We get an 81 fill, and of course, it continues to go higher. Sell on NVIDIA. I mean, this, honestly, guys, like, it's a face slapper, this Google trade for me. Look at this sell for NVIDIA coming to the downside. I'm just going to make sure I don't have any pending bids or offers, which I do not. All right, so Intel making a move here. That's a bid imbalance, so that's starting to go upside right now. But now we're almost $1 in the money on this trade that we gave right to you on Google. So I'm just going to try to manage that. But there it goes, huge upside move for Google. Well spotted, as they say, as this one keeps on going to the upside. Now 80 cents in the money on this monster, Google. We had to take this against ourselves, but not against ourselves anymore, as this climbs up to P&L number 2 now on the show, and we just put it on, and it's not even a big position, but there it goes, Google, nicely traded there to the upside as we were able to hold on. We only have 10% left, but only now starting to get out of that last 10%. I might just get, here, I'll punch it out. There, we get a 93 out. We'll work on that, and I'm just going to punch out of everything here on Intel because it's just doing its own thing. Tesla drops pretty hard there off of 360, so I can cancel that.
SMCI is a buy and balance. It's the only other notable one just for everybody.
All right. Yeah, so far so good there. Intel right now, I'm going to just bid this out, and there we go. Oops, sorry, I was on Tesla. There's Intel, out on Intel, man. Good day today to end with. So let's see what happens with Google with only 8 minutes to go. Google making it rain to the upside. Good trade there off VWAP.
Yeah, great trade there off VWAP. There's Apple sell, NVIDIA sell, Intel was a buy as we're mentioned, but SMCI, the only other thing that stood out, 1.4 million to the buy side on SMCI. Again, it's about $42. I did try, and again, the algos are going to be a little bit faster than a human being trying to punch short when NVIDIA came up. But if you're not on level 2, you don't have a chance. I did fire when it broke through 138.50 on NVIDIA. I left it in on the off chance that I would get picked up. But the second I saw the imbalance, I fired the order and didn't get a fill. That said, if you're looking at the right stock, you at least have a chance to get in. The algos are, like I said, they're always going to be a little bit faster. But it did provide you with a trade. If you were able to get the fill when that sell imbalance came in, it was a clean 50-cent move if you were able to get that fill. I didn't, but wasn't for lack of trying the opportunity. That said, that's what I was going to go for. YZ here, the imbalance on SMCI, 1.3. Check that, 1.4 million to the buy side, just grew a little bit. And we already knew gold, we already knew Enbridge. Those two probably don't move the market. Sell on Pfizer, that's not that big of a deal. And then Microsoft is also a sell. It's a very mixed board on the imbalances, but 1.4 million to the sell overall on the market. The NASDAQ specifically, 870 million to sell. The Dow, 800 million to sell. The Mag 7, 720 million to the sell side. So majority sell, but that's what happens when NVIDIA and Apple are both leading the way. The Intel buy, it's a $23 stock. It simply does not move the needle on those imbalances. And Tesla, I don't see one for Tesla for someone that was just asking. I'm sure you could stroll down far enough, but if it's not 500,000 or more, a million or more, then it's not that big of a deal. Think of it as a nothing burger.
Yeah, I think that's good call there. I mean, especially with Tesla moving the way it is, right? You want to make sure that you do have, the right sort of feel for that. There goes Google. I mean, we're now out of it. We have like 5% left. We takes another out here at 172. I mean, I'm really not surprised, but like, happily, I guess, surprised at where we've been going here today for Google. I mean, why did we pick this? Just because it was the name that we liked. I mean, it was starting to, I'm going to get out of everything now if we can. I'm just going to, okay, offer 84s. Can we get it? There he goes. All right, so close of trade right there. So we'll just go Travolta's like, all right. We'll close that out right there. It actually is very, very close to Apple now. We actually did not take over Apple as PNL2. But Apple's still there. Google's right there as well. Nice trade at the end of the day for that. That Zscaler, we can have a quick little look at it. Expected right here for Zscaler, implied move, 9% for ZS right now. The previous move, over 19% last time. So we'll have to, just under 19%, sorry, last time. We'll see what Zscaler is going to do right now. Again, like the space, like everything, I'd say it's a beat, but it's already, actually, now that I see where we can go, yeah, I like the stock, man. Breaking through 215, why not? Zscaler, probably something to win with. I'm already in CrowdStrike and Pan, so we can wait to see if there's anything happening over there. Another quick look on the imbalance locator will give us an idea at least. So Intel's still that bid. We covered our Intel down there as well once we broke at that 20, or I think it was 90, I don't know what it was, 96 is there. So a nice little trade there for Intel there today. And again, I was disappointed in it because of the, the fact that it's red on that news. I'm not, you can't be pleased with that. So we'll see what winds up happening here with Intel moving forward. But that's that. And yeah, I don't have too much else going on. I mean, we're out of that Google. That looks like that was a good out. Look what's happening right now as Google dropping.
All the imbalances flipped.
Yeah, exactly. So all the imbalances flipping up there. And Google counts as all of them. So right there now, Google really getting flipped up there to the upside and then to the downside. So that's why you cover. We always talk about the danger zone.
355.
Yeah, of trading these names at 350 and then again at 355. Very, very risky proposition to be in there. But yeah, it should be a good show with Adair and Neil today. And then we'll be there tomorrow with Brian, join Michael Noss tonight. And then we're here tomorrow, man, with another big show.
Yeah, we'll have Mitch in the morning tomorrow. Well, I presume we'll have Mitch in the morning tomorrow, it being a Tuesday. So we'll check it out. When 355 hit, pretty much everything curled. If it was going down, it flipped. If it was going up, then it turned. So like at the end of the day, I think NVIDIA is still 770,000 now to the buy side. So it went from a sell to a buy. SMCI stayed at 700,000. So that's the only one that stuck around. If you're looking at BTC, and this is actually something that I didn't mention when I got out of it, but I think I always should. If I'm in a mean reversion trade, Obi calls it reverting the reversion, but if your reason for getting in is a trend line break, then certainly it's a good reason to get out when it breaks the trend back up. So once it actually gave an established higher low, once it lost that trend line, I'm not saying flip short. We actually went tomorrow when that happened, and pretty much the exact same move. Like they both moved 30 cents off that same area is what it is, but they both did. That's what you got to look for. Like, what's your reason for getting in? What's your reason for getting out? Just to double check, I'm going to get to the desk in a couple seconds here. When NVIDIA did that flip at 355, there's the bounce, right? So there's your trade. If you did take that short, you got to bank your profit on a scalp trade. Like it gave you a chance to short it here, make your 50, 60 cents, and that's it. 355 hits, and that's the end of your trade. If somehow magically it sticks around, which it usually doesn't, fair enough, you can hold for more. But I'm going to mosey on up to the desk, get ready for a little Zscaler earnings.
Yeah. What time?
Although it's
4:05.
Yeah, they're right away. Well, okay. I mean, almost right away. They're close enough to right away. So we'll get them, and then we'll be able to talk about anything you guys want to. So good luck out there. I'm assuming no more trades, but
no more trades.
Yeah, we'll see you guys on the flip side. I'll be up at the desk with Adair.
You can wipe that. You can wipe that there. There we go.
Oh, we do some cleaning on them.
There he's cleaning it. Yeah, get right around here.
Fabian's cleaning all of these cameras.
What up, Fabian?
I love it.
All right, yeah. And I want to thank everybody. We had a big construction day here over the weekend where we were trying to fix some of these pipes as we are at the bottom. Well, we're in the main floor of a building there. So we had to, unfortunately, wrap everything up and get everything going. Nothing like a nice little water. Okay, what do you guys want to look at? I mean, I'm just going to make sure that all my orders have now been canceled into that close. Again, thank you so much for joining us one more time today, as the NASDAQ will be up that 1% here into the close. The S&P will be up 0.18. The diamonds today up nicely, but, down was earlier, the Dow Jones, and it is still down that 0.3. We could check out on USO today. Oil right now down 0.75. Gold today down as well, down 0.88. Looks like Bitcoin will end the day in and around that 96,000. Ethereum's not bad at 3,600. Of course, it's the Ripple story today as we keep on watching out to see what's going on with XRP. As XRP today, wow, I cannot believe I sold pretty much all of this at $1.50. Let me refresh to see what's going on right now with XRP. Where is it? Oh yeah, upside. There's XRP. Wow, 272. Congratulations, everybody there, because some of these things. Oh, and by the way, my guy right here, yo, Cardano, what are you saying? The Italian coin, up $1.20 right there for Cardano, up 10%, up 20% over the last 7 days. Ethereum up 4, Bitcoin up 1, Solana down 7. And that's the problem, man. Everybody piles into this because they hear about it. You got to be in a little bit earlier than that. Solana went up to 250, 260, now pulling back quite nicely. And that's the thing, like, it's not a zero-sum game, man. There's going to be traders that will lose, obviously. As we go, and we've talked about that, I've been raising cash on all of these names. Wrong decision there with XRP, but we're out, man. I'm out of about a third right now of all of those. Whoopsies, that's roll call. What we're going to do right now is do recap. Oops. I'm just on the wrong page. It's the recap show. Right here, the countdown is now on with only 2 seconds and 1. There we go. We are now over with. I don't know if we do have a sponsor for the show, but I want to thank Trade the Pool again for sponsoring some. There it goes. Hit the confetti. The market is now closed. You know, all I was pushing was this button that says recap. Recap. There it is again. So, yeah, and then this one too, where we do not have a podcast anymore, but there is the live podcast. You can go check that out. Look, great day trading here again today. I want to thank everybody for watching. I mean, look, you choose where you want to spend your time. And we want to thank all of you. Trading can be a very, very lonely game. We celebrated there with Google. We celebrated with Intel. A couple big trades there in the afternoon. But for right now, it's 4:01 almost. And we're going to get ready to go over to the recap show. It's Neil. It's Adara. And eventually it'll be Michael Noss with Zscaler as well. Get your questions ready to rock. Until tomorrow, we'll chat then. See ya.
Thank you very much there. I almost said Katina, man. That's what Sharif said, Mr. Katina. Or just Sean. I always just call him Sean. Zscaler is out in about, 4 or 5 minutes. We'll get them at 4:05. Not a heck of a lot of movement yet, but obviously it's been all about tech on a day like today. It's been all about crypto on a day like today. You had power moves in Tesla as this market decided, hey, we're going to start off December, and we're going to start it off on the right note. So first day of trading, you had some pretty large moves in a lot of the Mag 7 names. Again, just going to check to see if Zscaler is going to make some moves there for you. I shouldn't say let off with, because Tesla was one of those let off and then ended with a bang on Tesla, although it still hasn't broken that 360. So you get 3.5% on Tesla, again testing a fresh high. You had some serious strength in a lot of the Mag 7. You saw Alphabet with Sean there, one that we did not talk about a lot today. Meta on the verge of another breakout to the $600 level. So that's been running. We saw Apple make another all-time high because it's just been churning. So a good, strong day. And then, of course, to recap, what we've been saying has been the disappointment. Well, everyone and their mother has been saying Intel needs new leadership. Yeah. Well, Pat Gelsinger retires and the stock is down on the day.
That's shocking.
So that's not what you're looking for. I think obviously hindsight's going to be 2020. Up on the stock today, but would have done much better aggressively trying to short the tops, realizing, hey, they have an intern co-CEO. Yeah. There is no change of direction. There is no Brian Nichol type savior that is coming in. They haven't found an answer in the change of leadership. They've just got Gelsinger out. So I think that's possibly the reason why I pull back in there. And oftentimes you see the volume. The longs did work, so I'm not complaining about the early longs, but there was a mean reversion off an obvious high on Intel, which I wasn't looking for because I was essentially only looking for the long trade. So in a couple minutes, we're going to get Zscaler, obviously here. They're expected a 9% move.
Yeah.
It did twice that last time.
Last time was nuts. Well, I showed that gap actually too. I do like an earnings segment every day around 11:40 on the market recap. And I showed the daily chart, and we basically went from around that 200 level to like what? I'm going to pull this up again because I want to make sure I get these numbers right, because this chart is wild. I make this point to show we had that massive move that Neil just alluded to there on their last earnings report, and there's some levels here. Yes, we go from around that $200 level to 156. And then we struggle at that 200 area where before like properly filling the gap, come back lower, then we push above. So yeah, I mean, this was quite the earnings report last time. That 200, given how well it served to support and that previous resistance and the previous earnings gap, that's what I'm interested to see if we interact with. But you're right, like given that 9% move, we could blow past that entirely.
Well, yeah,
be shocked.
That's the concern. If we go downside, keeping in mind, if it goes down, that 9% is going to line up awfully well, pretty much identically, to the 50 and 200 period moving averages, which is sitting down here at 190 and 187 respectively. So if you do get if it does go red, keep in mind where the support has been. You got support on the daily, obviously at 200, but then you've got both major moving averages sitting right around 190, which again would be that 9% expected move. I'm not saying anybody out there it's a good idea to trade post earnings, but a lot of times people do. We look at those dip prices and say, hey, where is the support likely to be? Oftentimes, you will find it at those implied volatility levels, especially when they line up with a little something else.
Nike.
Here. So Nike, big some news on Nike
Just
here.
got a catalyst here.
What do we got?
So apparently, this is a report. This has not been confirmed, but apparently Nike's announced that it's going to be shutting down its digital sneaker division by January 2025. This is part of a strategic shift under its new CEO, Elliott Hill. This was another well-received CEO change, actually. That was announced as of October. They also, basically they acquired the unit in 2021. But basically, apparently Nike looking to shut down its sneaker division. We also have Zscaler earnings. I'm going to comb through that
Zscaler
right
is
now.
dumping, so it goes right through 205, right through 200 like a hot knife through butter. You just pulled through 195, a little bit of a bounce here happening at 194. So it doesn't quite get into that low 190 range on the daily that we're looking at, but yuck so far on ZS as it does head to the downside. Now, last quarter, they were down 18 and change. So obviously, this is not nearly as bad as what we saw before. But initial move, not good on Zscaler. It does manage to hold out well in front of that 50 and 200 period moving averages, the higher of those being at that 190 level, which we just showed you there. So again, if you were looking for the dip buy, it just gave you back into 205. But not a good look for ZS here. And on sympathy, I mean, it doesn't necessarily matter. Zscaler, the smaller name, you'll see Palo Alto dropped about $1. I'm sure CrowdStrike probably had a little bit of a sympathy move in as the entire group going to catch a little bit of a tail or headwind, I should say, when you have this happen to Zscaler. So what do we have for the numbers here?
Yeah, so the numbers here we have, and again, I want to clarify, sometimes the estimates I see are different than the estimates that are generally accepted. I always like to give this little caveat before I give numbers. With that being said, here we go. So this is according to their official report. The revenue came in at $628 million. That's, according to them, up 26% year over year. Analysts were looking for $605.7 million. So that is above those expectations anyway. Then we have their net income per share. So they actually had a net loss per share on a GAAP basis of 8 cents, but that's actually smaller on a year-over-year basis from a 23-cent loss. Then it's also worth noting on a non-GAAP basis, they reported income of 77 cents per share. That is above estimates of 63 cents per share. It's also up on a year-over-year basis. So year-over-year improvements for their GAAP losses per share and their non-GAAP income per share. They also improved on a year-over-year basis for revenue. I'm going to give you their guidance here as well. Okay, I'm seeing every summary I'm seeing of the report does not have it as compared to estimates. So I'll just give you what we have. They're expecting Q2 2025 for them anyway, revenue between 633 to 635 million. And then they're also expecting non-GAAP income per share between 68 and 69 cents. If I see any comparisons to estimates, I will let you know.
Thank you very much, there. We also have CleanSpark that just hit the wire.
Oh.
So CleanSpark, they missed on EPS. They missed on sales. And fell down about $1 or so, and it's now green. It doesn't matter, no, necessarily. Like I said, there's never such a thing as good or bad earnings. There is simply, they report the numbers and the market reacts to them. So CleanSpark was heavily red initially on that top and bottom miss, and now you're seeing it break back into the green. When you look at this, there's been a lot of volatility, clearly in anything Bitcoin or mining related. It's going to be back above that 200 period moving average, at least if it can hold on to the $15 level. So nice recovery here for a CLSK. But remember, that's a top and bottom misses on CleanSpark. Zscaler still looking, that still looks very, very heavy here. I mean, there was a bid that came in off 193, took it back into 205, immediately back in. We haven't had a green candle. This is a 1 minute chart here. We haven't had a green candle yet on Zscaler. The only good news is it's a smaller move than what was anticipated, that 9%. So you're still holding on to some support there at 190 on the 50 period on the daily. You're holding on to support from that expected move. I do like that look coming into tomorrow if it can hold that even dollar level. Worth a watch there on Zscaler. Not very good, but at least CleanSpark is cleaning it up a little bit. And we always warn people, if you are trading in the aftermarket, there is less liquidity, there is a lot of volatility, and that initial move, you've got to be able to capture profit if you catch the initial move. Reversions are always part of the game. Here, sometimes you get a Zscaler that goes down and stays down, but for every one of those, you will have people that get trapped on a break lower in the aftermarket, and then suddenly you're like, yeah, but they missed top and bottom. Why are they going up? Doesn't matter. It just is, right? So logic doesn't have to hold true. CompuCare team saying they are here. Yes, you are, and you're in the right spot if you're looking for some action. I did want to go over a few things that we didn't get a chance to talk about today, because I know a lot has been made of how bad things have been in the EV space. The solar ETF 10 was up. Sorry, is up. It's not like it tanked at the end of the day here. And it's getting awfully close to its 50 period moving average. Now, you're not going to find many charts that are worse than this one. You can probably find a few if you squint and look hard enough. But this has been a colossal trap every time it gets above the 50. However, I feel as if we can make a break above the 50, there's a trade there on 10. It just has to make the hold. I think you've got a 50, and then you can maybe break the 200, trade over the 200 back to the 50 period moving average, given how tight they are. It's starting to look at least a little bit better. You had a wipeout bottom under prior lows at about $40, and then you're going to get a curl. And if you break back above the 200, you're getting it back above that 40 level. So I think there's something setting up for them. And I also wanted to point out a down move here, losing a bit of a double top at all-time highs here on the global uranium ETF. So you had a down day 1.5 points on URA. Anybody who's in something like an SMR, like which I am, you'll note that SMR double topped and pulled back 7%. So not a great day for some of those nuclear plays, which have been on an absolute tear. SMR, again, double top, losing the 30 level, and ground back down. Now, personally, I'd already taken some out on it, so I wasn't doing any selling on my own personal account. But uranium to the downside, and then the solars to the upside. So a little bit of a reversal. I don't think it's like one was coming in or out of the other, but certainly wanted to make note of those. We didn't really talk about those two sectors in the middle of the day.
No, and there's also another thing that's really strong, not a sector, but I want to mention Ripple again, because that thing ripped to the upside. They had a really great November, and I actually pulled up the daily chart, the monthly chart for that during the crypto segment around 1 p.m., and you can really see the massive volume that came into Ripple last month. Of course, a lot of catalysts for that. Brad Garlinghouse meeting with Donald Trump being viewed as positive for crypto, and then also we had as well Gary Gensler stepping down. He specifically went after Ripple quite aggressively, or XRP. So it's interesting, too, they get that rally there as we end the month, starting the new month's pretty strong. I also want to go over really quickly Zscaler guidance. So they did, we had their guidance, but now here's how it compares to estimates. They expected Q2 revenue between $633 and $635 million. The lower end of that actually missed analyst estimates of $633.84 million. Then their adjusted EPS estimates between 68 and 69 cents. Analysts were looking for 69 cents. So just to be clear, they missed the lower end of their guidance by a hair for both revenue and EPS.
Yeah, you're not going to be able to miss guidance when you've been on a run going into earnings. So keep in mind a couple of things here. they have not been, Zscaler, I should say, has not been the best of breed. Obviously, Crowd, if you look at Crowd, you look at Palo Alto, they've been doing and performing much better. You were already making a pretty solid rally, 40% from the bottom here, going into those earnings off a nice support. I think, like I said a couple of times in here, if you're waiting for a trade tomorrow, if you're looking for a trade tomorrow, the first place to look is going to be the major moving averages in the 190 level. If we lose that, there is some local support down around 180, but you're not going to get away with a miss on a guide, not when markets are at all-time highs. When things are priced to perfection in that way, and we're in the midst of a bull rally, you want to beat those expectations, and people care more about the growth than they care about that top and bottom line. I do believe, we are ready and locked and loaded. And one of the reasons I brought up TAN is because I know every now and then we like to talk about it with our good friend and guest for a little bit of trader talk. And you know who it is. It's Michael Noss, the Noss boss, back in the house. First of all, how's it going? I didn't get a chance. Well, obviously, we talked to Brendan this morning. I hope you had a good weekend. We're north of the border, but did you do any Black Friday shopping?
I did some, not too much. It's one of those things that it seems like everything's always on sale. So you get your Black Friday, and then you're like, I'm going to wait for Cyber Monday, and then I'm going to wait for the Christmas sale, and you end up just waiting till eventually you just buy it at full price anyway.
Oh, come on. Okay, I'll say this right now. I did 90% of my Christmas shopping is done.
Good for you. Someone's keen. I wish I had that work ethic when it came to take care of that.
It's not that. It's just that I hate the last minute stress of I love the holidays. I like to be relaxed. When you get to the holidays, I want to be thinking about family. I don't want to be thinking about, I need to get this person out. I need to get that. I want to get that all out of the way so I can focus on the good. But let's focus on the good here because there's a lot that we can talk about here. When you came on previously, I think it was last week, you were mentioning some of the other opportunities in the crypto space that went beyond Bitcoin. Now, obviously, there's been some big moves. Ripple has been absolutely nonsensical in terms of its move, XRP, to the upside. Is there anything that's caught your attention? Anything, or do you have any comments on what you think could be next? Because Bitcoin's still not breaking 100,000, but the volatility is clearly still here if you're looking in the right place.
Yeah, that's the $80 billion question of what is next. But like anything, I'm one that I develop a plan, then I have to stick with that plan. I'm just looking at my list now. I'm not seeing too much that's popping up, but I'll show you what I have been doing and how it's been working on some. So maybe the users can kind of keep an eye on it. The most recent one I actually took here, ADA USD, so Cardano. I have the chart up here. And all I've been doing with a lot of these cryptos, and it's just because more or less it's just something that makes sense to me, right? So if we go to Solana and we take a look, you can see the moment that we broke the anchored VWAP from all-time high, it was game on again. Even we look at Doge, DOGE, right? We break the anchored VWAP from all-time highs. It takes a second to populate, but that was kind of right here, and away we go. And I heard Ripple while I was in the green room, and the same thing. We chopped around it a few times, but when we finally got going above that anchored VWAP from all-time highs, that was a nice pop as well. So recently, I bought a bit of this ADA or Cardano, and the idea is pretty simple, right? There's the anchored VWAP, the purple line from all-time highs. We broke that. We came in and kind of tested it pretty perfectly and then started to move off it. So that's where I bought some. The only other one that I'm watching really closely, and full disclosure, I am in some from this anchored VWAP break. It's not all-time highs, but it's a significant one. I bought in some of this at about 40-ish cents, is Mana or Decentraland. This is one of those Web3 gaming kind of tokens. Just a massive level at about 80 cents, right? It was highs right here and then back over here again. So a lot of highs on this particular name. So if we can get through that 80 cents and then maybe even through this anchored VWAP from the all-time highs, That's the plan. But I do have a scan that I'm running kind of every day now just to see if there's anything that was close. The only thing that showed up on the scan this time was this STG coin, whatever this one was. Looks like it might be getting close, and this JASM. But really, I don't know anything about these coins. I don't know anything about really the space besides the big ones, the Bitcoin, Ripple, and Ethereum. So what I'm doing with the rest of them is I've just developed this plan, and I'm just kind of faithfully going through every day and seeing if anything's meeting this setup and just taking the trade.
I think that's a fantastic look. And those are all great entries and obviously rolling in the money if you're into those breaks. I just wanted to circle back maybe to that mana specifically for a quick little question. So when you have, in that particular case, you've got the breakaway from one anchor to the next one. Now, do you go profit take out in front of that high on the anchor from the all-time high, or do you trail it once it gets there? Like, are you already going to be sitting there looking for an offer out on mana when it gets up to that anchored resistance, or do you kind of let it ride on through, just from a strategy standpoint?
Yeah, I'm looking to sell part because that anchor, I'm in at 40 cents on mana, and that anchor is like $1.60. So I would just be an insane person if I at least didn't take some off the table and moved on. And just to show more recently my Cardano trade, right? The idea was pretty simple. It was around 95 cents or so. I picked some up and my risk was down to, 80, 85 cents a share. So I'm risking 10 cents a share. So I'm treating these more like how I would trade call options, because you can get a double of your risk very, very quickly in these names. And as soon as that occurs, I'm taking half off the table because, again, these are incredibly volatile instruments that I know nothing about what the real world use of them is. I'm just trading them like momentum instruments because right now they're working like momentum. So, I was risking 10 cents on Cardano, so I'm instantly putting out an order to sell half when I get 20 cents. Now, if it comes back down and it stops me out at this 80 cents a coin area, well, it's okay. It's still a flat trade, and that's what's giving me the ability to hold on to these moves. Because looking at Ripple as an example, a solid trade in Ripple would be all you needed for the entire year. Yeah. And I have no idea which one of these is going to be next. So it's always take the trade, take out half as soon as I can cover my risk, and then just kind of let the rest go. Some sort of trailing stop or moving average or something like that.
Yeah, there you go. And it's always about having a bit of a plan of action. But one of the reasons I love having you on and always ask that question about the plan is, well, when it gets to that big key level, we always point out, if you're whether you're a support and resistance trader or momentum trader, you use indicators, like you were saying, wait for a moving average or wait for an anchored VWAP. There's always, what are you doing at that level? So I was just always curious to see if you're holding through. And I think that's always a big part of the plan. We always talk about reasons to get in, but making sure you capture profit. And I know sometimes you're repeating yourself when you say you like to bank that profit. For anyone that's looking at the first time, I want to make sure they get that note. The other thing I wanted to ask you here, if I could, Michael, is just going to be about, we're coming into the end of the year here. Obviously, only a few trading weeks left in the end of the year. We do tend to see volume drop off a little bit, especially going into Christmas. I was just curious, from a swing trading standpoint, as a day trader, we can just react to day. It's not as big of a deal for us because you just look at what are the opportunities. Like there'll be an SMCI or an Intel one day, or who knows, the next. But from a volatility standpoint and a volume standpoint, when it does drop at the end of the year, do you maybe consider not putting on as many swing trades? Are you waiting for the new year? Or does nothing change and it's purely technical for you?
Nothing changes for me simply because volume doesn't matter as much the longer out in time frame you go, things like volume and spread and liquidity start to matter a little bit less because I'm holding something for a week or sometimes even a month. It's not as important that it is very active and volatile day to day. Now, I'm more likely to do that and to back off a little bit in the summer because you get the low volume, and that's usually also with choppy action. For me, I'm more interested in the action, and going into the end of the year, November and December are historically incredibly bullish market or months for the market. So I want to make sure that I'm deploying capital during those times, even if it's a little bit more low volume. Low volume and a nice trend, I love, and it's a kind of a swing trader's paradise. Low volume and chop, that can get you into trouble because you're having liquidity problems on the way in and out, and then also you're getting a choppy market, which makes it double hard in order to make money trading.
Yeah, there you go. And it certainly, I like that look. And there are often times where I know as a swing trader, there'll be symbols that you will look at, and it's like, that's perfectly fine because your exit strategy, your entry and exit strategy is going to be perfectly intact. You always get in, it opens and closes. And for a day trade, it's like, oh, it's not really doing enough volume for a day trade. And that's the best thing. You can apply the same technical rules to your trades, whether it's an intraday trade or a swing trade, but you have to remember liquidity is certainly going to be a bit more of a concern is it for a day trader because you're looking for multiple entries and exits. I wanted to get your thoughts, and this is not to beat a dead horse or anything, but I was telling everybody, well, I shouldn't be telling everybody, at the beginning of the show, I was telling our viewers that I did notice the TAN ETF is starting to go and trying and make another run here. And I know it's been absolutely bleeding, but this time, what I like about it, I want to get your thoughts on this. What I like about it is it had a distinct line here holding right around 38.5 to $40. It recently broke that and now has a V shape to fill that gap. So what it looks like to me is you have a bit of a, it hasn't happened yet, but if you get it back above the 50 period moving average, you can reestablish a prior support and do a bit of a rounded bottom, like start establishing a higher low, which has the makings of a turn here on TAN. It might be a couple of weeks away, but I still feel like this is the kind of name that when it goes, you're probably going to get a very good looking setup from a technical standpoint. So I just wanted to get your thoughts. I know it's probably in the first inning.
No, I couldn't agree more there. And I've mentioned TAN a few times. I'm just annotating up the chart. There we go. This area for TAN is actually pretty important because if you go way back to February of 2020, so right before the COVID collapse, this was a pretty big area. This was the top of that market at kind of $40 a share, fell down. So I've been watching this, and you can see we've been hanging out here for a very, very long time. And that kind of back and forth action that you can see on the market here, to me, it's just saying that there is potentially some accumulation going on, right? We're no longer having this pattern of falling, consolidating, and then falling. Once this stops, it shows me that there could be some institutional accumulation saying, okay, enough is enough. This might be an area to watch on TAN. So like I mentioned, this kind of $40 a share area that you mentioned too, this, I just shaded it in here with a blue area. If we can retake this and start to get back up, it could be that this was a little bit of a flush below this important zone, maybe trapped in some shorts, maybe had some long stopped out of their position, and then we could be looking to potentially turn and move higher. So this is an area that I'm watching really, really closely on Solars. Like you mentioned, it's not something I'm planning on entering this week and probably not next week, but in a perfect world, I would like to see a nice, strong push, rejection of breaking down under this zone that we've been hanging out for a very long time on. And if we can get above that with some kind of oomph, right, some volume, some momentum, then I think it'd be very interesting to dive in under the hood, look at what solar names are being really, really strong and starting to get involved in the space.
And that's the other end of the coin. I'm glad you said that there. If there is, it's just setting up for a potential bottom. It's still trending down. And a good point out in the chat there, Thomas in the chat saying, oh, I think it could head lower. Yeah, the trend's been down. You're looking for a reversion type trade. You don't have to put it on in TAN. You can always just go in, maybe find a stronger looking stock that's performed better, and then execute the trade there. Then you have the cover of it being a stronger stock. So I'm glad you pointed that out because oftentimes my old brain will forget to mention that a lot of times when I see that setup, it might not even be TAN that I'd want to put the trade on. It could be like a First Solar if that looks a little bit better, or something else within the space. As always, a repository of knowledge there, Michael. I will leave you with this one. First of all, thank you for coming on. Enjoyed talking to you as usual. But I will say this. take advantage of the deals, man. Principle is priceless. Get that shopping done early. I'll tell you, it is you spend less, you spend a little bit less, and then your holidays, as you get close to Christmas, you just feel so much better when everyone else is scrambling and you are chilling out, relaxing with a little eggnog and a little bit of some help along with it there. But big thank you to, as always, for coming in here and dropping some knowledge, Michael, and great trades in the crypto space. I know you've got a few bangers on.
Absolutely. And you're right. I got to get moving and take care of it before this whole Cyber Monday thing ends.
There you go. See, we give you advice on shopping too as well. Once again, thank you, Michael. We'll talk to you later on in the week and see how some of those crypto names have moved. Michael Noss, our good friend in CMT, dropping some mad knowledge and late on his shopping. We come back to there we go. Before we move on, I just wanted to go to Adara for a quick little second because there was a big mover on earnings. This it was CRDO had a 30% move, smaller company, but I want to make sure we got the numbers because it's a pretty hefty mover here, Adara.
Let's talk about this, and it's actually interesting. I expected this company to be smaller than it is. From what I saw, it's actually on the Russell. It's got about an $8.5 billion market cap. Float of over 100 million shares, short float of just under 5%. So none of those numbers are particularly wild, but it is up about 27% right now. I put these earnings in the chat as well, but I'll give them to you here too in case you missed it, because that's what we do. Q2 2025 earnings of 7 cents per share. That is above estimates of 5 cents per share. What about their sales? 72 million versus estimates of 66.7 million, sorry. So that would also be a beat. Now let's talk about their Q3 revenue guidance, because that seems to really be the kicker here. They guided Q3 revenue between $150 and $125 million. Analysts were looking for 86 million. So to be clear, analysts expected 86 million. The lower end of their guidance is 115 million. That's a great look for CRDO. Also really quickly here with regards to guidance and Zscaler, we mentioned their guidance for the quarter was a little bit lower than expected on the lower end, but beat on the higher end. Their fiscal 2025 guidance, they raised across the board, and it's all above estimates now.
Yeah, let's just say that when it came to earnings this week, Credo shot first. And if you're a Star Wars fan, you know what I'm talking about. And if you're not, you have no idea what crazy old Neil is saying. But for those who know, I know they know. And a big-time mover. This should be on watch tomorrow, no questions asked, with a 30%, now 25% move. There's no way you're not going to at least have a cursory look if it's going to do relative volume. You're breaking out, it's just basically fresh highs here. So a blue sky setup on CRDO. Bilbo, he did not shoot first, though. Always a fun debate. Who shot first? But you know what? At 4:30, you know what's coming next, right? We got to get locked and loaded and take care of some business. For those of you that want to be involved in the madness that's about to hit, which of course is the roll call, I got to remind you of a few things. If you want your name shouted out by Adara in rapid fashion, if you want to get part of the roll call, which we have a lot of fun with, then you got to be able to type in the chat. And if you want to be in this chat, it's a subscribers-only chat, so hit that subscribe, hit the like, share it with your friends, so we can all enjoy the trading journey that we take you on every single day. But more importantly, when you type something in there, give a big shout out and thanks to our guest, Michael Noss. Give a big shout out and thanks to our entire team today, because we had a bunch of construction going on here. And look, everyone that you saw in front of the camera, we didn't have to be here yesterday. No. But everyone behind the cameras on our team, whether you're talking about Fabian, Ramin, Brendan was here, you had Randy, Rob, all the IT guys, they were all here making sure we'd be up so we could give you guys a show today. So it wouldn't happen without them. Give them all a big shout out. Big shout out to Andre for the videos that we had put out, our trades. Big shout out, of course, to the midday team. We had the Bash brothers in there with Joe and Sharif. My man Sean Katina on the desk, of course. Big shout out to Obi, who's always filling in, doing a great job as well. Big shout out to Adara, kicking butt on the desk here. We had a lot of news dropping, especially in the middle of the day. And always give a big shout out to Bears versus Bulls. The best moderator in the business. So with that, I will leave it to Adara. Let's get our roll call on.
Thank you to Bears vs. Bulls. Thank you to Neil. Thank you to Fabian, Ramin, Sean, Sharif, Joe, Obi, Brendan, everybody you see, everybody you don't see, Andre as well. Let's get it kicking. We have D-Loaf, we have Slugga, 214. We got Trey Only. We have Reload. Reload has Jimmy Joe Smith, Las Hansen, T-Nan, Michael Spadafora, We have, oh, it skipped a little bit for me here. We got Ethan. We have Bilbo Bagholder, one of my favorite names in this chat. Christopher or Snorlax. We have Darren Michael. We have Runot. We got Bears vs. Bulls here. I got to shout you out. Adventures in Texas. We have Bbot 5000. Loogie, I think maybe. Muskan. Sebastian Cansado. We have D. Westermeyer. Newfew with capital P. Drop Trades. Frank Hanley. Call me Poppy. Okay. Oliver Katsaros. We got Travel Trader. Smooth One J. Marie L. Conrad Clark. Paul. Call me Poppy again here. Richard Cabeza. We have Darren Michael again. We got Baseball Card Will, Howl Capital Trading, Happy Zombie, I love that one. Sean Higgins, Jai Singh, Bob the Builder, Agitated Stallman. We have X777, Daddy Gator, West, y'all, The Piper, Surfer Boy, 3000. I'll end it with Ostentatious Productions. I got to end with that. Great time, guys. Thank you so much for being here with all of us today. I can't wait to see what these little things in the cybersecurity space do tomorrow.
That'll be a big one after Zscaler's move to the downside, unfortunately. But hey, when you're trading, you can take shorts too. And that's the best part about the markets, is that there's always an opportunity up, down, left, right, doesn't matter. You're going to find something that moves, and you're going to find it with Trader TV Live every single day. So we'll see you bright and early, 8:30. I'm talking to you also, Baseball Card Will, in the chat. I'm curious to know what you have and what your best card is, so show me out in the chat, because I got a few myself. But we'll find you all here. Check back in 8:30 in the morning. We'll trade whatever moves, and we'll all do it together. Bye, guys.
See ya.